Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SWC 2025 America's Cup Prelims. We're kicking it off with day one. My name is Evan, and with me at the virtual desk, it's Topa V. What's going on, Topa?
Not much, Evan. I'm doing good. In fact, I'm doing fantastic. I couldn't be more excited to kick off, SWC 25 America's Cup Preliminaries day one today. We got 5 returning players as well as 3 brand new faces, which is going to make for 6 amazing matches here today.
Yeah, man, we've got a big day today, and our goal is to find our first 2 confirmed players for the America's Cup proper in Brazil on October 11th. Here's the tournament overview. We find ourselves on the precipice of greatness at the America's Preliminaries for day 1. All this leads up to the America's Cup on October 11th, where we'll find our 3 representatives for our region that are going to move forward towards the World Finals. And of course, everybody who eventually moves forward will be fighting for their share of a $216,000 prize pool. And the way they'll do that is via a double elimination bracket. It's best of 5 the whole way through. This is my favorite way to watch SWC. All the players are going to have the opportunity to get to know their opponent a little bit. Less on the line as a best of 3. Get more room for incidental mistakes along the way. Everybody mark your calendars. October 11th is the America's Cup. Of course, World Finals on November 1st. And we're not trying to just reward the players here. We want to reward you at home watching SWC with the return of the SWC 2025 emblems, which you can accumulate by redeeming the coupon codes you'll see throughout today's streams and many others. And you can exchange them for rewards in their own aptly named shop, which is bigger and better than before, by the way. It's got an LD scroll, it's got legendary scrolls, all attribute scrolls, and even at least 1 Devilmon. So make sure to be saving up in the background because you can get some pretty serious prizes. And guys, we are right in the middle of a new collaboration, by the way. Summoner's War meets Tekken 8. The ultimate showdown is happening right now on the Sky Island. Log into Summoner's War and enjoy the collab exclusive Nat 5 Heihachi giveaway event, collab scrolls, and more rewards. That's happening live in-game right now. Good luck on all your summons, and enjoy everything that we just mentioned. Now, Topa, while we look at the bracket here in a second, I want to ask you, are there any players or particular matchups that you have your eye on?
Oh, absolutely. As far as the player that I'm watching out for is RAIGEKI. He's a good friend of mine, definitely a fan favorite here on the English broadcast as well. But that first match of the day here today, BIGV versus BADOWNEY. These are 2 players that I knocked out of the tournament last year, and super exciting to see both of them come back stronger than ever and seeing them duke it out in the very first match here today.
Oh yeah, so you have more experience than the average player against them because you guys have some history, especially in SWC. And the recognizable household Summoners War names don't stop here on day 2. That's tomorrow, same time, same place. We have the return of such folks as Ladrillo and True Whale, who was our America's Cup champion last year, Toba.
Yeah, not only was he the champion last year, but also the year before. So 2 years in a row, going for this 3rd year, such as just as Pinkroyd Europe region. So, True Whale is still not done. He still has more accolades to claim here. And also, we have some new players here, such as Orkut in day 2, which is a Brazilian representative. And as mentioned, America's Cup will be held in Brazil this year. So it's super exciting to see many of these Brazilian players hopefully claim their spot in the America's Cup.
Yeah, dude. So for chat, for folks watching at home, make sure to keep your eyes peeled for those Brazilian representatives too, because they want that home court advantage on October 11th. So, you can watch ZEZAS here today. He made a real big name for himself last year at his SWC debut, and he's only gotten stronger since then. But Topa, we are starting out with a bang today. You cited it as your most anticipated game. We got a big one starting out with BIGV versus BADOWNEY coming up here. What can you tell me about BIGV?
Yeah, BIGV, like many other players, utilized those Twin Angels heavily to get to this point here in the tournament. And, in the most recent bounce patch, those Twin Angels were nerfed. So we have seen already in the other regions a little bit more pivot to these other speed leaders, such as Oliver, Fire Megumi, and Sierra. And BIGV does have that Gianna, but BADOWNEY also has a Gianna, so they're going to be contesting for that unit.
Whoa, yeah, so they can definitely fight over each other's units. I think something that we had talked about multiple times leading into this is whether or not we're going to see the return of all these Twin Angels following that balance patch that nerfed more than one pair of them. So we'll see if these players end up subbing something in, somebody takes their spot. here's a look at BADOWNEY. So last year, he was in the quarterfinals of the America's Cup. Topa, your experience against BADOWNEY. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, since last year, BADOWNEY has definitely gotten way stronger. He has gotten some new LDs, some very strong ones at that. We see, that in the most banned there in the Miying getting the buff, as well as the Velasca. I believe the Gianna is also new since then. So BADOWNEY is definitely looking very strong this year. He has also gained a lot of experience, having that stage experience from last year, coming as a newcomer last year, but this year previously also taking first place in the summit alongside his team. So BADOWNEY is looking extremely strong here today as we get into first match, Evan.
Yeah, first match here at the prelims for day one, SWC 2025, the Americas region. We're starting the hunt for the two folks to represent us at the America's Cup right now, Topa, and we're in the pre-ban phase, so we'll see where these players put their stake on this one. Looks like no speed leads, no win speed leads for anybody.
Yeah, not surprised to see that. Oliver, I think, is going to be heavily contested here today, as well as, BADOWNEY banning out that CR, maybe going for a Gianna first pick, doesn't want BIGV to get that CR speed lead, or going for a Water Monkey, which has been extremely popular as well.
Yeah, so look at that, dude. Speak of the Shiho and he shall appear. Someone out there is trying to buff this unit into the position of being the best monster of the game, and I think he's just one or two more balance patches away from that. I was looking up the stats on this guy. He has appeared in 12 balance patches.
Wow. Yeah, I think, in the next balance patch he appears, he's probably going to be more likely receiving a nerf than a buff at this point, because he has been heavily utilized. I believe he was first picks almost every single game in the 8-pack Group B just last night. But BIGV responding, there's still a speed lead available there in the Vanessa, as well as a Patter, the anti-stun unit.
Yeah, and what a great response to a Water Monkey King who has stun on every single skill. Hard crowd control on everyone. Pater wants to eat that up thanks to his passive. And honestly, yeah, the Shiho ends up being very akin to like a water version of an Etna that's harder to dance around because of that invincibility and immunity he offers. So BADOWNEY bringing the Asher as well as that Miying in the second and third pick slot, Topa.
Yeah, Miying did get nerfed slightly in the most recent balance patch, but still a very strong unit. And BADOWNEY opting to go a little bit more turn 2 here, maybe playing a bit safe, seeing BIGV's picks there, which are quite heavy counters towards any turn 1 play. And we'll see if BIGV now continues down this bruiser line with a Josephine and a Vivid Shell.
Wow, that's exactly what he's doing. So many counters for what BADOWNEY's bringing. So right now, BIGV is in he's got defensive position right now. Shields online. He wants to stop BADOWNEY from making any serious headway. What does BADOWNEY need to do here to break through this wall that BIGV's bringing?
Well, it's going to be really difficult. I think you want some sort of a resetting units here, or just he's opting to go for more bruisers here, because that Vivid Shell Josephine combo is extremely strong. Vivid Shell can sleep herself, and then that gives the turn instantly to Josephine, as well as likely putting a unit on your side to 1 HP. So that Vivid Shell is extremely volatile and definitely dangerous here. That BADOWNEY might just be looking to ban that out as he rounds his draft out with more bruisers here.
Yeah, great call. BADOWNEY rounding it out. Like you said, more bruiser, staples. We got someone who's anti-crowd control in the Misty and also the Raccoony. Whoa, another big appearance from the balance patch. Whoa, we're seeing the Dark Demon, who now makes sure to have that skill 2 online anytime he comes back from the grave.
I love that pick. I think Beelzebub is probably the winner of the balance patch if I had to pick one. That unit is quite nice now, because now you can freely use that skill 2, and yeah, BADOWNEY wants nothing to do with that. Content with his find the first 4 and banning out that Beelzebub. But here we go, game 1.
Yeah, you got to put the respect on that demon, man. That thing, it was scary before, and it's way scarier post-balance patch. Of course, BADOWNEY kicking it off here with the Shiho. Super fast base speed, gets the stun on the Vivid Shell, unlocking the Josephine's potential.
Yeah, needed to get that stun. We saw that Vivid Shell was moving next, and it could have just swapped the monkey, then given Josephine the passive, which then would obviously remove the invincibility and take that kill. So very nice stun starting off there. But BIGV is still looking very solid here at getting that immunity up, but sure might be able to remove one of those and punch a hole for the Misty and Miying to get through. Oh, but the provoke.
Oh my goodness. Oh, he gets everything he's wanting here. Big setups and big damage on the Asher too. It's almost looking like his strategy is paying off despite not getting that early snipe on the Shiho. He's able to snipe the Asher instead. And now Miying trying to put a little bit of heals in play for the Asher, but I think that Josephine might actually be able to clutch up the kill here.
Yeah, might be able to do so. The Josephine, a bit unfortunate missing that skill 2 turn 1, but very fortunate provoke on that Ashore. And now, you know, Vivichel still does have the skill 3 available for to use later, and Ashore has already left the battlefield.
Oh my goodness. This is just like a slight change of plans for Big V. He is like, okay, so I can't take the monkey, but I can at least take down the Asher. Although that jack-o'-lantern over there has proven to be a little bit of a thorn in his side. He's been wailing away at it for a second, and the health bar's barely moved.
Yeah, BADOWNEY's runes are definitely showing through here. That's a lot of damage coming out of that Misty and the Ming. No, very questionable skill too there, you know. The only unit being able to stun was that Patter, which is obviously going to cleanse itself anyways. So just basically giving Josephine a free turn and shield there, but also taking away the passive so that the combo with the Vivichel is gone.
Look at how aggressive he's being right now. He was hoping that he could clutch up the kill with that Misty, but unfortunately he's going to lose the Pater. It'll come right back thanks to Vanessa's passive here, but that was very aggressive. It really shows you where Big V's head is at. It's like, I'm not gonna heal this thing. I'm going to let you take the kill, and I'm going to take your Misty down with me.
Yeah, very well played by Big V there. You know, BADOWNEY Ming did get nerfed, so probably doesn't have quite the solo potential here. It does get rid of the Patter here. I mean, it is possible. I do see a world here, and that is a very good start, getting that resist.
Yeah, because, you know, as well as Big V has been doing, we are up against a couple high damage units here in terms of looking from Big V's perspective. Like, you know, Shiho has a lot of solo potential. Granted, he's up against a couple good counters, but, you know, we're going to have to see how this plays out. I can't make a distinctive call as to whether or not he's going to take it.
Ooh, I really wanted to get that stun on the Ming there when the passive was down. If, you know, this Ming is able to dodge these crowd controls at the right time, BADOWNEY can still definitely take this game, but it is going to be an uphill battle. But that Ming resisting the defense breakthrough, is this a resistance built Ming?
It must be, because it's been resisting almost everything. And now Josephine gets one more turn, fails to stun the monkey. Unfortunately, Vivichel's going to try to do the same thing. This is actually looking low-key bad for Big V. The longer this game goes, the worse it gets. Attack is going to be climbing up, and Mi Ying loves attack.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, you know, not really landing much. Now it does get that nice buff remover into the provoke by Mi Ying getting a huge violent proc into the Vivichel. No, almost the Josephine!
Oh no! Oh man, if you're Big V, you're starting to sweat right now, because these units are supposed to be countered by everything you've drafted.
Yeah, and you know, now there's a revenge buff on that Mi Ying, and you have to hit it. There's nothing else to hit, and that is going to be doing a lot of damage. Not getting rid of the revenge buff there either. Vanessa does have her pass available. Does BADOWNEY know that? And goes for Vanessa. No, it goes to Josephine instead, which could be a mistake. Now giving an attack buff.
Yeah, attack buff into a defense broken Mi Ying, but it's the counterattack. We're deep enough into the game, it's enough. Oh my god, against all odds, BADOWNEY takes round 1.
Wow, that is incredible. That Josephine really was not stunning. We saw right at the end there, too. Mi Ying's passive was not up. When Josephine had the attack buff, the Mi Ying was defense broken. Had he gotten that stun, I think Big V would have taken that game. So extremely close first game. What a nail biter here, Evan.
Yeah, for real. Showing that a good defense is not always that great of an offense, apparently, because BADOWNEY was still able to break through. I thought Big V kind of low-key had it in the draft just because of all the counters he had, but it shows you the power of the Shiho and Mi Ying even post-nerf.
Yeah, definitely. I was right there with you. I thought Big V had the better drafter, but BADOWNEY, you know, that rune quality and that Mi Ying was doing so much damage, just melting through Big V's team and ultimately getting him the victory there.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Chat, you remember Topa called it in the beginning, saying both these players have grown. BADOWNEY has changed a lot since last year. I know a lot of folks have probably only seen BADOWNEY play in SWC 2024, though BADOWNEY did appear also in the Summit too. But even since then, a lot of months in between, that's a lot of time to grow.
Yeah, and there seems to be almost 2 trauma bans there on the board. You know, I feel like those were probably the most impactful units from either side, and now they're banned out, so it's going to be interesting to see what the players pick up here. Maybe Big V is looking now to go with a Gianna, given that the Mi Ying is in the pre-ban.
Yeah, and we also have to remember that 2 extremely prominent speed leads are back on the table too, so if someone wanted to draft an Oliver, they could. Big V is taking that for that first pick slot. Does BADOWNEY want to follow up with the Ciara Gianna? What is he feeling?
Yeah, it's always a little bit awkward picking a Sierra and a Gianna into a Oliver because, you know, you have the lower speed lead of the Sierra as well as Gianna doesn't have a super high base speed. So maybe going for like a Water Monkey here once again would be a pretty nice response. But Big V really valuing that Oliver. You know, he pre-banned the first game when he didn't have first pick, and now he's first picking it. BADOWNEY taking the Vanessa, and wow, okay.
Oh, look, Pater's changed sides. What a traitor.
And so has the Vanessa. Yeah, that was Big V's first 2 picks last game. And I guess Big V playing that stuff should know how to counter it. We'll see how he does that.
See how he wants to reply. That was a great choice from BADOWNEY, though. I love that he's matching the speed lead. That's a great call. Oh, Okeanos, you foreshadowed this to me right before the tournament started. This was like he was part of the last conversation we had before the timer ran out.
He was, yeah. Okeanos has also been seeing a lot of plays since, you know, that buff to the skill 2. And it's so consistent getting those buffs off as well as the reset. And I'm not a huge fan of BADOWNEY's pick of the Patter here. You know, it was a bit preemptive. Now there's a stun from the Okeanos, but there's also a lot of reset on the side of Big V, which is Patter's weakness here. BADOWNEY probably has to go more Bruiser here with, you know, yeah, Misties and maybe Fire Monkeys. Up to go for the Water Monkey to contest that turn 1 still.
That did great for him last time, so I'm into the Shiho, and the Misty also really performed well. You know, so a lot of folks will see the Misty and immediately think of like 4-star Special League. The fact that he's being drafted here is incredible, and it reminds me of the days when we'd pick Chilling back in SWC.
Yeah, Misty has definitely been making waves in the RTA. You know, he has become very popular. It's almost, you know, a lot of players are saying that Misty is what, you know, Jaeger dreams of being. Seems like he's the more premium anti-crowd control stuff. But Big V, you know, still going with the Twin Angels here, regardless of their nerf, as well as the Layla, which has seen a lot of play.
Yeah, two monsters that appeared in a balance patch, but for the wrong reasons, still on the draft here. So we'll see how this works out for him. I'm curious if he's gonna let the Layla through, or if he thinks the Juno might soak up the ban here. Let's see how this pick ban phase plays out. And I see folks in chat right now also participating in our screenshot event. You can use those hashtags. You can use the first cup in Brazil with a heart, take a screenshot to participate in that survey that went live when the stream started as well. And look at that, Layla and Juno soaked up the bans.
Yeah, no surprise in the Juno ban there. I think that's kind of almost a forced ban here. And BADOWNEY will be taking turn 1 with the Shiho, looking to probably stun the Okeanos here and get rid of that unit fast.
Well done. You know, this is making me kind of think that we're going to be seeing a Haygame potentially somewhere down the line, because all these units are willed up. We're seeing a lot of Shiho played. Haygame would go real nicely into this comp. The Water Twin Angels, if he's so inclined, he could strip away that invincibility and immunity, but he's choosing instead to go for the Pater.
Yeah, that's very smart getting rid of that Pater, because now Pater gains that attack bar and moves in front of the Wind Twin Angels. So now Pater has an awkward turn here, right? You kind of still want to cleanse to get rid of that defense break, but now obviously you waste your immunity as the Wind Twin is following right up and being able to just remove that and apply the slows.
That's a great observation. Really solid play here, because now look at that. The whole team is slowed and they've got nothing. Good call, Topa. Can reset the attack bar and increase cooldown time on Misty, deny a little bit of damage. Now if he wants to, he could even make it so that maybe perhaps extend the cooldown times on the Water Monkey King, prevent the skill 2 from coming out and stunning the team.
Yeah, Big V in a commanding position here. That slow is so valuable on the Misty as well, because Misty takes less damage if you're faster than the opponent, but when you're slowed, the opponent is sped up, that Misty is going to be taking a lot of damage and is not looking very healthy already.
And now with everybody going so low, you increase the cooldown time of Vanessa so you can clean up either Misty or Shiho, and they won't be coming back. Man, Big V is doing a technical showcase here. This is some surgical precision he's playing with.
He definitely is. Yeah, BADOWNEY just going, I feel like it was a bit too passive, you know. I mean, it was also funny that he took the first 2 picks of Big V that Big V obviously lost with. And, you know, BADOWNEY saying that, I'll show you how these units work, but it's not really playing out as he probably hoped, as this Misty drops here, and he's going to be on the back foot.
Yeah, it's funny how that happened too, and I feel like the choice to take them was slightly different as well. It's like when Big V took these units for himself, it was in response to all these units that are stunning. You know, he's taking the Pater, he's taking the Josephine, but for Big V side, he hadn't really represented any of that, so it might have been a little too hasty. I'd like to see BADOWNEY maybe stick to his guns a little bit more and go for his strategy instead of like directly stealing units.
I 100% agree there. You know, the resetter already in the Oliver being on the field is such a huge counter against this pattern. And we've seen this pattern has virtually done nothing the entire match here. It got that turn 1, get the immunity up, but it was removed right away, and since then it's been sitting stunned in the bear form. And Big V takes the game 2 there.
Yeah, but that's the best part about the best of 5s, because now it's like we have room for these little missteps and nobody's at match point just yet. So BADOWNEY can kind of reshift, or he might accidentally let Big V take more of a lead already, because you can't give Big V room to breathe. As soon as he has it, he's going to take the pace, and all of a sudden you're knocked down into the loser's bracket.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if Big V still sticks to that Oliver pre-ban here. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, BADOWNEY had a very close first game there, but was able to eke out the victory. And we'll see if how Big V adjusts to that draft here.
Do they go so far as to pre-ban the Oliver again? I imagine. Here's my prediction. I don't think Pater's going to be pre-banned.
Yeah, no surprise there. We go right back to the round 1 pre-bans. Yeah, Big V really valuing Oliver. You know, he first picks it. If he doesn't have first pick, he will pre-ban it. BADOWNEY probably still just taking that Shiho first pick here.
Stick to what works. I mean, that unit is just so good. It blows my mind how good Shiho has been. Oh, going for a 33 instead. This is actually an opportunity for if Big V wanted to pick it up. He could go for the Shiho here instead.
Yeah, the Shiho is still a solid pick. You know, it's a bit awkward since you don't have like that good of a speed leader to pair with it. But I mean, there is the Fire Megumi still on the table, as well as the Water Twins that, you know, as well as the Wind Twins proved to work very well for Big V in the last match.
Almost seems like they weren't nerfed that hard from the look of that game, but that was it's interesting to see them both still used in SWC even right now following that patch. Okay, now what does BADOWNEY do? Does he go back towards what worked for him in round 1? He's still doing it, although there is slightly more. I'm more okay with this because like now there's 2 units that stun on the other side, Topa.
Yeah, I agree. This is still pretty good. You know, Josephine has been drafted at a very high frequency since the shift in meta here to a lot of Shihos, but there's actually no Shiho on the board here just yet, and Big V has not been really favoring that unit. So we'll see what he rounds draft out with. The Layla is a phenomenal counter against Josephine, and the Being getting that anti-cleanse.
Oh, picking a different pair of Twin Angels to go with the Water ones, as well as the return of the Layla. Now, there's plenty of room here for BADOWNEY to pick counter picks for that Layla, though, because he's got 2 choices, so he's not committed to having to ban that thing like he was last time.
Yeah, he definitely isn't. You know, I think a Juno is still very solid here, and he already has like those 2 anti-CC units. So, the Aya is
just gonna say the Aya as well. Yes. Ooh, that is spicy. I like that. I like the Aya pick, or the Wind Exorcist Association Hunter, as she's been renamed.
Yeah, very, very solid picks from BADOWNEY there. You know, Big V does not have a whole lot of sustain, and the last pick of him is probably just going to be getting banned out here. We'll see if he has enough damage with, you know, the Okeanos, as well as with all of those cooldown reduction effects, or is the Aya and Juno here going to be enough to take the game for BADOWNEY?
So he's opting for the big daddy version of Rakuni. If just a little bit of sustain on his side. These seem fairly evenly matched to me right now, Topa. Do you favor one side over the other?
I agree with you there. Don't think I'd really have a favor in this draft. I think a lot depends on the bans here, which the players are also thinking about very carefully, you know, going right down the wire. And we see the bans come out, you know, on the gaps, as well as, you know, respecting the Aya. A lot of players don't really respect that unit. It's kind of gimmicky, right? If you can just avoid debuffing it. And now this Juno is going to be a menace.
Oh yeah, like Juno is really the one to keep your eyes on. Of course, now we got a lot of increased cooldown time effects from Big V's draft too. So this is still going to be a thorn in BADOWNEY's side, but I think it all kind of rests on that Juno's shoulders. I'm excited to see how this goes. Again, this is not the end. We're in a best of 5 right now. Neither player is at a match point. This is the last opportunity they have to kind of get to know each other before they have to start sweating.
Yeah, that is true. And yeah, we'll see Big V taking a turn with his Water Twin Angels. No surprise there, but that Vanessa is actually moving second. Well, assuming Layla is going to get boosted here and it's going to move. But either way, we see that BADOWNEY's team is very fast and might be able to outpace Big V here in a little bit.
Yeah, they might be able to. Josephine has the opportunity to go in here and just kind of counterattack. Oh, nice. Applying the revenge buff on herself, provoking Okeanos, denying any funny business on his turn.
Yeah, but this Juno, with the speed buff now too, is going to be doing loads of damage, and it's probably just going to be targeting this Okeanos here, although going for the Layla. That Layla doesn't seem very tanky.
No, it doesn't. And now that you've dealt so much damage to it, you might as well go in for the kill. I was a little confused by that choice at first, to be honest, because to me, it's like, you know, to an extent, the Layla kind of feeds into the Juno, can kind of provide some sustain for your team. But, you know, honestly, if you see a kill opportunity, you take it, especially on SWC stage.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you there. You know, Layla does give that Juno the passive. While it does have the cleanse block, I feel like it's still probably the least of your worries for this Juno, although that Layla is locking down that meeting extremely well here.
I see we have also some new folks in chat too. I'll do my best to try to splice in some of the family names along with the Awakened names. Nice proc from the Josephine for big damage on the Layla, that Wind Devil Maiden there.
Ooh, there's a nice proc from Okeanos, but I don't think he can save this Layla. This Juno is going to be moving here very soon. Actually, even gives Josephine the passive there, and Josephine is probably looking to provoke the... Not going for the provoke, just confirming the kill. Can never go wrong with that.
No, never can't. Okay, so we got a lead here, but BADOWNEY with a 4-3 monster deficit. Kind of, yeah, I mean, you got to increase the cooldown time on the Mi Ying to keep him at bay here, but I mean, we've been saying it since the dawn of this game, Topa. It's the Juno. She could do it on her own.
Yeah, that Juno does so much damage. That was 2.7k a hit. That is over 8,000 every time this Juno moves, and that Okeanos is not long for this world.
He's absolutely not. So now the targeting you see has shifted towards the Juno, and that is some significant damage going towards her. And BADOWNEY's doing everything he can to kind of take that threat away. Juno's able to secure one more kill on the Okeanos before she bites the dust here. She did really well done. Vanessa's passive going to revive her again. And now we are off to the races. BADOWNEY securing this potential win here.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be taking this one from Big V. Ooh, well, maybe the Twin Angels has something to say about it, but I really would have liked Big V to see the ban on the Juno. Still, as scary as that, you know, I here was, I think you can still kind of play around that and utilize your debuffs, because there aren't like any monsters on BADOWNEY's side that like, you know, stun his own team or debuff his own team. We're talking about this before as well. Those don't really exist, so you still kind of dictate the flow of the game. But with the Juno, that's just so much damage every time it moves.
Totally. Yeah, the Aya in this game would have been totally brutal. It's funny because I think the Juno ended up doing more damage than Aya would have, but you know, it is what it is. You know, you got to make the choices. I'm not saying that would have changed the course of the game, because ultimately, BADOWNEY taking this win seemed almost destined. Because of that pick ban phase, he's really showing the strength of Mi Ying. Like post nerf, I thought he was going to be a little bit easier to deal with, but he just pumps out so much damage, man.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that was changed about Mi Ying was his damage reduction. Like, he still deals the same damage. Now he just takes a bit more damage as well. But when you're not getting focused, you know, that tankiness doesn't matter. You're still as effective as at 1% health as you are at 100% health. And BADOWNEY now at match point.
So this is where Big V really needs to turn it on. You know, it's like, and Mi Ying finally gets pre-banned. Oliver's pre-banned. Let's see what they do with this.
Yeah, BADOWNEY also realizing the value of the Oliver and how detrimental it was to his team composition last time. We'll see if Big V now first picks the Vanessa. Now that CR is also on the table, maybe not putting so much emphasis on that Vanessa speed lead.
Or take a Trinity. Surprise everybody. That would be unreal.
That would be unreal, yeah. That was definitely not in my bingo card, but
true that. Oh my god, yeah. Okay, he's taking his time and he's prioritizing the Okeanos. I mean, out of what he's been drafting, I don't think Oki has really been the problem by any means.
Yeah, definitely not. I would like to see Big V bring a bit more damage or some sort of attack bar reducing units, but now he doesn't have that Oliver, because that combination worked wonders for him in game 2. But BADOWNEY obviously breaking that up, and we'll see. Maybe he takes the Vanessa now.
He's thinking about it. Oh, there's the Hey Gang that I was asking for. It's like he was listening.
Yeah, we see a completely different draft here now. These are two units that we have not seen so far in this set yet. You know, Sierra and the Hey Gang. Was quite surprised that we didn't see these monsters earlier, as he also called for the Hey Gang. But Big V now probably going to be responding with some sort of a speed lead in the Water Twin Angels, as well as taking the Josephine.
Yeah, and BADOWNEY's signaling that he probably wants to take a Gianna because he's, you know, picking an enabler, and he's also denying the very popular counter to her. So if he was so inclined, he could maybe slot that in here. But the thing is, Josephine is also a counter to Gianna.
Yeah, Big V, somewhat, you know, maybe a little bit preemptively even picking up that Josephine for that. But also, you know, both these players actually do have the pattern, right? And that's probably why we haven't seen Gianna appear anywhere, not in the pre-ban, but there she is. She does make an appearance. So Big V likely to counter this with a patter and maybe an unstunnable unit like the Misty or a Fire Monkey here.
You know, we'll have to see what Big V picks in the 4th and 5th slot. But the Asher is fascinating to me. Just picking him into double water doesn't feel amazing to me. I might have liked something else there, like even like you suggested, potentially the patter actually would have been decent here.
Ooh, we see Big V take a Shizuka and a Smicer. You know, Smicer definitely fallen out of meta a little bit here, but it is quite interesting here, you know, because that passive still does activate even if you are CC'd, and there's no real pushback on the side of BADOWNEY. I mean, there's a little bit on the Hey Gang skill 1 and Sierra skill 3, but you know, nothing major.
Yeah, that's surprising to me. I thought we weren't going to be seeing Smicer in SWC this year. Big V is cooking. He's cooking something. And of course, the Juno. We got a triple Oracle pick ban phase here from BADOWNEY. Shows you the power of that whole family.
Yeah, we do. You know, yeah, the Juno is it's an okay pick here. I'm not like in love with this pick. Again, going into triple water. But, you know, obviously Juno is very good in the Shizuka, very good in the Smicer, so it's somewhat of a solo unit. But you already have two AoE buff removers in the Gianna and the Hey Gang, and I kind of would have liked to see some sort of a AoE crowd control unit here on the last pick.
And it looks, and the ban goes out to the Shizuka. I'm lightly surprised about that, actually. Maybe BADOWNEY thought that his Juno was going to get banned out there. I'm not too sure. Okay, this is potentially the last game of the whole set. BADOWNEY leading 2-1. If he wins this one, he's our first semi-finalist.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment of the Shizuka ban. Not a huge fan of it, as you know, you have 3 AoE buff removers. At least 2 are going to be going through, so either way, you do have kind of control on that. But Shizuka obviously still debuffing the rest of the team, and you know, when you have bombs and silence and counter attacks and stuff like that, still definitely a fine ban here, and I think BADOWNEY is still looking okay.
Looking okay indeed. See, I like Asher wanted to. Looked great. It looked great, right? You strip, you silence the Oki, and then Oki's right there to pass it back to the Asher, and now he's got 2 awkward turns ahead of him. It's great that CR is able to put Oki so low, though. It's just the slightest bit awkward.
Yeah, another point to note here is that there are no buffs on the side of BADOWNEY, so this Hey Gang is quite useless now past this first turn. And Smicer actually just opted to go for that heal instead of bombing anything, and trying to keep this Okeanos alive.
Yeah, I was almost thinking that if we could have gotten something to apply more buffs in one of those last slots there, or maybe instead of the Asher. Nice proc. He loves proccing in positions like that. Oki getting dangerously low right now. He's just one hit away. I think with Ciara, you just kind of pepper away at him to make sure you secure it, since Smicer can technically save him.
Yeah, well, you don't need to do that because the Juno moves here next, and Juno is definitely going to be securing that kill. And at this point, you know, Big V's draft is quite dismantled. He does still have a chance here to pick his water units, as well as Smicer getting a nice violent proc silence that ashore.
Yeah, so now if you're BADOWNEY, you just really, if you can get rid of that Josephine once the counterattack's gone, then you've pretty much got the game on lock.
Definitely, yeah. The Juno last pick still proving to be, you know, a very strong solo unit here. Obviously can't really be crowd controlled, and BADOWNEY's Juno is ruined so well and has insane artifacts. Like, the damage coming out of this Juno is absurd.
It is. You pointed out it's like 8k thereabouts every time it moves. It's insane. It's an insane amount of damage. He has the opportunity to just refresh some cooldowns. I don't even know if you necessarily want to. Oh, and he stunned up the Juno, but that's okay. He's denying that last turn of silence for the Asher. Can he secure the kill? Might as well have, because he procced into it.
Yeah, definitely want to secure the kill there, because I'm sure did have skills available. So that bottom proc out would have been able to heal up, and that would have been trouble. But yeah, this Juno is getting debuffed a lot right now, and that's going to be more healing, more attack power from the cleanse to the side of BADOWNEY.
Oh yeah. Also, Asher loves proccing in positions where he's in the one turn of silence. I don't know what it is about that monster. He reminds me of Velajul like that. He loves disrupting your gameplay. Now we got CR here, placing a bomb on the Smicer, so when he wakes up, he'll have that to look forward to as well. Chipping away at this entire team, but BADOWNEY struggling to maintain this lead as Big V brings it closer to parity here.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of bombing the Smicer here. I think that Smicer almost enables your team, It is putting debuffs on that Juno, and then you're getting cleansing, you're getting heals, you're getting attack power. I think this Josephine is the issue. And now, without the Sierra bomb, this Josephine is going to be difficult to kill. I think that's a slight misplay from the side of BADOWNEY bombing that Smicer.
I completely agree, and I'm afraid that it actually could have a bigger impact, because you like having Smicer around, but you very much don't like having the Josephine around in the Water Tornadoes, because a defense break into Josephine is exactly what can take down a Juno. Let's see if he's able to pull it off here. BADOWNEY struggling to maintain a lead.
Yeah, still in an okay position, There's not a lot of heals on the side of Big V, and obviously, Josephine does have a debuff on all of her skills. So as long as those debuffs are landing, Juno is getting those nice heals and staying healthy.
Yeah, and BADOWNEY's poking away at it. He sees where the problem is, and he's getting incidentally, slight bit of healing because he's getting counterattacked. This is not looking good, dude. Big V slowly outpacing BADOWNEY.
Yeah, unfortunate stuns from the Juno coming in this Josephine as well, and now not stunning when the passive is not available. But I don't know if this Juno can hold on. Oh my god, just barely.
Just barely, dude. I'm telling you, we liked the Smicer. We did not like the Josephine. Oh no, this is very scary.
Wow, yeah, we are definitely going to be going into a Game 5 here in our very first match of the day. I said this was going to be close, and it is proving to be just that. Big V does take the fourth game and bring it to a 2-2.
Go into a Game 5 in the very first set of the prelims on day one. This is awesome. This is like America's Cup level competition happening right now. Oh man, I'm telling you, dude, you said it. I liked having the Smicer around because if you're BADOWNEY, it's incidentally healing your team.
Yeah, because at that point you're kind of just like, as long as you have the Juno around, like Juno is looking to solo that team, and when there's no one else for Smicer to debuff, it's always going to be debuffing that Juno and healing it up. But that Josephine damage, always critting on that scale 1, can definitely rack up, especially in the late game when that attack increases.
Man, Jug would be hating these prelims right now. He despises Josephine. He's like Josephine's #1 hater. But 2 of the 3 oracles we saw last game are pre-banned. That's great. Look at that. So we're going to be seeing something different this time.
Yeah, we are. Big V actually not banning the Oliver this time, so BADOWNEY is just going to snap pick that Oliver right there. And, the oracles didn't work that well out for BADOWNEY in the last game, so a bit surprised to see that Gian and the pre-ban.
Yeah, so fast. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, is this BADOWNEY's first time with Oliver in his draft? I think Big V's gotten it in his draft, but otherwise it's been pre-banned.
Yep, that is correct. Big V was pre-banning it or first picking it. So now, yeah, shifting that Gianna pre-ban, and BADOWNEY takes it right away. Big V responding with, the Vanessa. They really want to have this matching speed lead, as well as the Fire Twin. We haven't seen much Fire Twin recently. It was extremely popular at the start alongside the Water Twin, but then kind of got replaced by the Wind Twin. Still a very strong unit.
It is. I'm still afraid of that increased cooldown time. It can do a lot of single target damage as well. So you kind of count it amongst your damage dealers while also being a utility belt for your team too. And BADOWNEY showing us something new here. Okeanos with Laura on his side. So this is how he plays when he gets Oliver on his team.
Yeah, but this is looking like a pretty easy Hey Gang pick on the side of Big V. He already does have some buffs coming out of this Fire Twin, but actually just opting to go for a Patter instead of a Hey Gang, as well as taking the Water Monkey away from BADOWNEY now.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for him to be picking that Pater into this too. Surprisingly, no Josephine. I'm expecting a Josephine at the slightest inkling. There she is, at the slightest inkling of a stun. You know, it's like you just hear the word stun and Josephine appears in the pre-ban. That's crazy, or in the pick ban rather. Okay, what's this fifth pick? What is the game-winning semi-finalist position earning fifth pick? It's Layla for BADOWNEY.
Yeah, that might be the one, you know. Big V doesn't really want to be picking the Josephine himself because there are already two resetters, mainly Oliver. Oliver is a huge counter against Josephine, you know, reducing the attack bar, getting the skills reset, but then also having the Okeanos is another reset. But yeah, not surprised to see BADOWNEY pick the Josephine here, since, you know, that Shiho does make an appearance, and that's those two do appear very often in the pick ban.
Great note. And the last pick for Big V, staking the set on this, is the Wind Twin Angels. I love that, providing some immunity for his team, some strip and slow. It's a great unit.
Yeah, Big V has so much immunity on his side. He has 3 units that provide AoE immunity, and the Monkey providing that self-immunity and invincibility. And BADOWNEY might be, I mean, he does have a lot of buff removers still on his side. 4 out of the 5 units on his side do actually buff remove, and banning out that Pattern now. But Shiho would likely take turn 1, and we'll see if he can get a crucial stun on this Laura.
This is pretty frightening. Yeah, that Water Monkey King poses a big amount of threat in this game. He's able to outpace the Laura, and he can provide some disruption here.
And this has to stun the Laura. Well, actually, he might still be able to cut in. Is the speed buff enough for BADOWNEY to move after? Because right now we see that Wind Twin Angel is moving next, and it still moves next. It's not enough. BADOWNEY's tuning is off.
Not quite enough, dude. Wow, dude. And the Shiho missed every single stun on that Laura. That's a, you know, Lauras are traditionally high res, but that was extreme.
That is a bit unfortunate, but weird choice here, going for the Water Monkey, even though he had already used its skill 3 there, and just allowing the Fire Twin to go off and get even more immunity on the side of Big V.
I guess he's not too afraid of the immunity. Wanted to make sure that his team didn't get stunned while Josephine's passive was done. We'll see how that plays out for him in the long run, increasing the cooldown time on Okeanos, getting some incidental damage in too. Oliver with an awkward hate procs like that. At least it gets skill 3 back online, but that's the type of proc I get with Oliver, is when the whole team's got immunity.
Yeah, it always feels a little bit bad getting those, but Laura also getting a nice violent proc, getting closer to her skill 3 here once again. Does need to get that up. Okeanos also getting a nice violent proc. Wow, getting his skills back online.
Wow, the right 3 units for BADOWNEY have all procs, and they're getting their skills online. They're not like influential procs in what they're doing in the moment, but the skill cooldowns are what's crucial about them.
They are, but this speaking of skill cooldowns, this Fire Twin Angels here is going to reduce the skill cooldown of all the monsters on the side of Big V, and getting close to that immunity back on the Wind Twin Angels.
I want this monster so bad. This is like an advertisement for this for the Fire Twins. I wish I had those. I got the Wind and the Water. I just need that last one. Oh dear.
Yeah, the Twin Angel still proving to be extremely strong here. You know, Big V not making very good use of them. He didn't use them in the first game, and he lost that game. But you know, since then he's been picking them up and dominating them.
Look at this, 1 by 1, knocking them down. Oki is the first to go. We got Laura following shortly after here. This is really well done by Big V. I mean, we said it in the pick ban phase, man. That Shiho, if you don't find the right opportunity to keep it controlled with Oliver, and then it's game over.
Yeah, something to also note, while the Josephine, you know, is a quite nice counter against the Shiho, I feel like the Josephine is not that synergistic with your team here. You're going for a AoE control team, right? Like, Josephine is almost like the counter to your team, but then also not, since you have the resets. But like picking the Josephine yourself, just when you're supposed to be controlling the enemy, doesn't do a whole lot of good. And Big V is going to be taking the victory here.
Big V with a 3-2 in a full 5-round game. Well done. He is our first semi-finalist to get locked in and move forward in today's prelims, sending BADOWNEY to the bottom bracket. We'll see more from BADOWNEY next week, Saturday, same time, same place. Now, if you're a BADOWNEY fan at home, you know, don't fret too much, because that means we get to see more from him. We get to look forward to more games. Wow, Topa, that was really close.
Yeah, that was really close, and that's just so brutal losing that way, right? You're up 2-1, you had match point, but then the opponent comes back and takes those last 2 games. I know that feeling all too well, but yeah, as you mentioned, that is not the end of the road for BADOWNEY, and he is definitely one of the more capable players. You know, I do have both these players in my prediction event. I will say that right now. So I do have full faith in BADOWNEY for making it through that lower bracket and still qualifying for America's Cup.
Yeah, me too. We should say that as well. Yeah, I got my predictions are the same. We actually I did my predictions on stream. Topa and I streamed together yesterday, and it was great. We did them alongside the chat. It was cool. And BADOWNEY, like you said, man, you said it at the top of the show. He's grown so much since SWC last year, and even the summit earlier this year too. I'm loving what he's bringing to the table.
Yeah, me too. Can't wait to see more of him next week here. As you say, you know, he's been sent into the future, but we have also in the future, we have ZEZAS facing up against a new challenger in SAPPYYY coming up in the next game.
Oh, that's going to be so cool. It's really interesting too, because now all of a sudden ZEZAS is no longer like the underdog, right? You know, he was the underdog last year at his debut in SWC, but now he's made a name for himself. He's put longtime players with big SWC history. He's given them trouble. Right, he's put them to the test, and now he might have the opportunity to deny someone who's having their SWC debut today in his set. And one last note: well played to Big V. Congratulations on the victory. It's always fun to watch him play.
Yeah, you know, looking at these highlights here, we see just how well he utilized those nerfed Twin Angels. And I mean, to me, they didn't really seem that nerfed, other than in the last game, actually, the Wind Twin Angel missed all the slows, which was quite interesting to see. You know, that was the part that was nerfed from the Wind Twin Angel. But even then, you know, just still taking that victory, and yeah, the Twin Angel still providing so much.
Yeah, they still offer so much value for your team, and even just the AoE buff remove, like barring the slow. Obviously, the slow is the cherry on top. But like they offer so much that I'm willing to forgive the occasional miss. So kudos to Big V for sticking to what he's comfortable with, even following the patch like that.
Yeah, he may have gotten a little bit shook in the first game. You know, once again, he didn't draft any of those Twin Angels in the first game, but then, you know, bringing them back for matches after and really dominating with them. You know, he also had very, very clean plays. He had you know, he noticed some of those intricacies with like the pattern in the game too, like stripping the pattern first to make it move in front of your Wind Twin Angels. And then, yeah, BADOWNEY maybe had a couple missteps, especially in this game right here, you know, bombing that Slicer instead of Josephine.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the one I think you and I spent the most time kind of harping on it. But I want to say, yeah, one more time, because when you've got a Juno like that, right, his passive it's not exactly like RNG, but it's, you know, it'll occasionally target the Juno if her attack bar is high enough. It'll put silence on her and push her back, and every time she takes a turn, that means she's going to get a little bit of healing. So you incidentally just kind of like having Smicer around. So I think maybe a little early shifting, maybe putting that Ciara bomb on the Josie or on the Water Twins would have been a little better.
Yep, I agree. I definitely agree with that. But, you know, it is very hard to make all the optimal plays. You know, there's a lot of pressure that these players have. I know that for, you know, first-hand experience, obviously. There's a lot on the line. All these players, you know, they want to compete. They've worked hard for this. This is, you know, the big tournament of the year. And it only comes around once a year, really. So there's a lot of pressure that these players have playing here today.
Yeah, this is like, and we're talking from like a bird's eye view, and we also aren't seeing what they're seeing too. So I'd love to hear their thought process as well. But it was very fun to watch him play, and I'm glad that we'll get to see more next week too. Looking ahead here, guys, we've got SAPPYYY versus ZEZAS coming up here in a second. Again, we got SAPPYYY with the SWC debut. Why don't you walk us through what you're seeing here, Topa?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of, you know, or handful of very strong LDs here, as well as the Twin Angels once again. You know, I was a bit skeptical about the Twin Angels, but Big V almost, you know, just like erased all of those, or that skepticism, all my worries about the Twin Angels. So, you know, maybe SAPPYYY will still be able to utilize those Twin Angels extremely well and maybe take down ZEZAS with them. And
we also see Sonya appearing down there in the most banned, so SAPPYYY might We'll have to see if Sappy's still utilizing the Sonya. She did appear in the balance patch and kind of got a nerf as well. We can speak on that too in a minute after we talk about ZEZAS here. So, Topa, tell me more about ZEZAS.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously came in as the underdog, big underdog last year. He came in as the replacement player in last year's SWC, and they made it all the way to the World's quarterfinals, which is an impressive feat. And ZEZAS, you know, he might not have the best monster box out of the players, but he is definitely one of the smartest players here in today's tournament. You know, able to utilize all of those elemental units so well. And we see here in the most picked and most banned, they're very, very different. A lot of players most picked and most banned are similar, which means that they kind of pick that core 5, and then obviously one of those always going to get banned, so they show up in the most banned. But for ZEZAS, that's not the case, which typically means that he's drafting a wide range of monsters to be able to counter his opponents.
We talk about the art of the pivot a lot and how that typically discerns like good from great players. And I would say that ZEZAS is one of those that's very good at the pivot. Him and RAIGEKI, I think, if I had to choose a couple in this bracket today, I'd say ZEZAS and RAIGEKI are both really good at the pivot.
Yeah, and it definitely, you know, shows in their win rates and everything here as well. But as we get in this first game, Oliver once again just showing up in the pre-ban. Players are putting a lot of emphasis on this unit here.
We had some stats dropping in chat earlier. I saw apparently Oliver had quite the tear in other tournaments that have already happened in SWC right now. So by the time he makes it to the prelims for the Americas region, he's already got a lot of wins under his belt, that Oliver.
Yeah, that he does. And ZEZA is actually just picking up the Water Twin Angels first year, and now doing something that, you know, well, we haven't seen today, at least. Sekhmet, I don't think we've seen at all in SWC, even in the other regions. But Annabelle has actually been extremely popular in the Asia regions too.
That is pretty awesome. Annabelle got buffed along with Nikki, isn't that right?
Yep, that is true. The heal, the skill 2 now heals more if there are debuffs being cleansed. And SAPPYYY responding to that with a Efna and a CR. You know, Efna is falling out of meta a little bit with the introduction of the Fire Megumi. But we don't see ZEZAS picking the Fire Megumi as a counter to it here.
And there's what we're talking about. Yeah, ZEZAS is so ready with cool picks. Obviously, I don't think it obviously didn't have the Aya last year, but that is a pretty cool choice in regards to this. Now, he's taken a lot of time to consider this. These picks are not locked in just yet. How do you feel about a unit like a Chroma into this situation?
Yeah, Chroma here, you know, Chroma always on paper seems quite strong, right? A lot of players are running all these debuff heavy teams, and obviously Chroma is completely immune to that. But then in practice, a Chroma oftentimes it just kind of dies to additional damage. And ZEZAS, you know, does have a little bit of heal to back it up here. So I do quite like that pick, and ZEZAS team is very sturdy here, now banning out that big damage from the bomb as well. And I think ZEZAS might just be able to outlast SAPPYYY's onslaught here.
Yeah, I think you might be right, especially because SAPPYYY is bringing a couple units that are traditionally like a little bit more fragile. Like I'm looking at that Etna when I say that, right? But I think you and I kind of share the same feelings towards a Chroma. She might be a little underestimated, including by myself, but she does have a tendency to just kind of be a wall of HP. And like you said, faltering to additional damage. Look at this, the power of Annabelle. Putting that defense break on, and a Chroma almost wiping out the Etna. If you were going to pick that monster into something, it looks like this was the right situation.
Definitely. Oh no, that is such an unfortunate stun, because the Seimei could have put that Soul Protect on the Efna, but now how do you ever kill anything? This is like, I hate to say it, but this is literally already game over. You have Okeanos into 3 water units and a Chroma that cannot be stunned. There's just, I don't know how to get out of this one, Evan.
You said it, man. You were hesitant to say it, but I was thinking the same thing with you. I was like, how do you kill anything? Like, let alone the Achroma. How do you kill anything here after that? And Seimei could have done some big healing if that Etna got a turn, so it was really crucial that ZEZAS killed it when he did. Now we're just going to wait for that skill 2 to be back online for Seimei to make anything happen.
Yeah, it's the only saving grace here is potentially the Seimei, you know, being able to revive that F, not getting those defense breaks and the damage. The Seimei is on violence, so that's a good start, you know, but still it's just Annabelle has heal. Well, it actually doesn't have heal available because it was reset here, but we'll have it shortly. You know, we know these occult girls love to sleep with that skill 1 and get those skills back up very fast.
He also got the increased cooldown time on Okeanos too, so he has a nothing turn right now, and the next one, there it is, one proc closer to his skills again.
Yeah, Seimei does now have a skill 2 available, I do believe, but Chroma getting that violent proc as well. Is this skill 2 enough to take out the Annabelle? might be.
Big damage, but not enough. And she gets a little bit of incidental healing thanks to the shield from Josephine. So functional HP, and just like that, ZEZAS is going to take a round 1 victory.
Yeah, very solid drafting by ZEZAS there, but that's exactly what we expect out of him. You know, funnily enough, I was saying that he doesn't have many LDs, and he does pick an LD there and utilize it very well, but, you know, picking an extremely sturdy lineup there, and SAPPYYY just didn't have the juice to get through that.
Yeah, he drafted very well towards what SAPPYYY was bringing, like the Achroma to resist everything, Josephine to counter the stuns, Annabelle to cleanse what's left behind. I thought that was really well played by ZEZAS.
Definitely. Now ZEZAS pre-banning the Oliver. Yeah, these players are just not letting... Oliver is not going to be appearing in the draft phase. SAPPYYY pre-banned the Heigang, knowing that he has his Gianna available this game, Evan.
Yeah, let's see how SAPPYYY wants to kind of like play around with this, because this is a very difficult opponent. Not that there's any easy opponents here by any means, but like we got a former Worlds Finals participant here today, and he's leading with an Asher, saying, I don't need a speed lead in my first pick. You take what you want.
Well, that is a interesting first pick, to say the least. And, you know, ZEZAS probably expecting that the Gianna is coming out and already preemptively picking that Annabelle, you know. I mean, pretty solid already into the Fire Monster there, but yeah, ZEZAS putting a lot of emphasis on this Annabelle here.
And I can see why now. Like that, the bonus to the healing was very cool. I like the defense break and the slow she brings. It's a cool unit. I think I'm learning a lot about her. I might want to try to implement that into some of my comps.
It really is, you know, sometimes all it takes for a unit to be used is just to like appear in the balance patch. Because I don't think that buff to the heal was like all too important, but it maybe made, you know, people realize that, oh yeah, Annabelle is, you know, a unit that, I mean, that 3-turn defense break and slow is massive on the skill 3. And obviously, you know, getting a little bit of extra healing is always nice.
Yeah, well said, man. Because oftentimes it all takes is a what I call a buff to public perception. You know, she just needed some good PR, and that's what got her in that balance patch. SAPPYYY rounded out the draft with the Dark Puppet Master, the Zenisek, as well as the Josephine, who's been making many an appearance here today in the day 1 of prelims. Her and Layla both bite the ban, and we're going in with what you see here.
Yeah, I love those last 2 picks by SAPPYYY, you know, countering. ZEZAS actually did pivot into some sort of CC here with the Water Monkey and the Okeanos, but SAPPYYY had the Hansers. That Zenisek is insane into this team. And if the Zenisek, but the Okeanos actually moves first, or in front of him. Because I was thinking if this monkey stuns the Gianna, the Zenisek, if it moves in front of the Gianna, which it does, will be cleansed the Gianna up.
Ooh, yeah, that is going to be... That's difficult, so now he's forced to increase the cooldown time on the Gianna because when it wakes up, he doesn't want it to have skills available.
Yeah, definitely not, but it can still bomb the Okeanos here. It does not have immunity, and but the Sierra doesn't follow up, so Annabelle might be able to just cleanse that out.
Yeah, Yeah, kind of beaten by the attack bars here a little bit, unfortunately. Like, turn order has really like been a nail or a thorn in his side this time.
Definitely, but also on the other hand, you know, this Ashore does cut him, but wow, not getting defense break at all. That is super unfortunate. That Banner proc is nice though, getting that silence, so now Sierra won't be getting stunned and will be able to bomb this Okeanos, hopefully out of the match. Yeah,
well done. This actually could be SAPPYYY taking the first kill here. That lands. Big detonate here, and that should be enough to take that. That looks like 5% to me, Topa.
Yeah, I have to agree there. Looks like 5% to me, but ZEZAS still not looking too bad. You know, the Annabelle did get that Banner proc as well, so it's close to the heal. And now Zenisek with that slow actually moves after the team, was not able to cleanse those units. But wow, the Bayek Banner procking.
Bayek is doing his best to win this game. He looks like he's doing it on his own out there. Well, actually, him and Ciara are doing everything they can to win this game for SAPPYYY.
Yeah, but SAPPYYY definitely drafted very well here. You know, those last 2 picks, this Zenisek definitely, you know, threw a wrench in ZEZAS' plan here, you know, having to reset that Sierra, and therefore was not able to reset either the Bayek, the reason the Gianna was not able to reset the Sierra or the Bayek, and that's obviously what led to his Okeanos dying out on turn 1.
Oh yeah, what a pick. Yeah, SAPPYYY's adjusted super well. Fortunately, he's going to miss the invincibility from Shiho here, because there is a world where Shiho takes this game.
Oh, there definitely is, but that is not a start to that world when
it
lands 0 stuns. And now the bombs aren't going to be coming out. Annabelle does have cleanse available.
interesting. I'm low-key surprised he didn't want to put one of those on, he didn't want to put it on the monkey. Just so that way once it comes out of invincibility, it takes the bomb. But because doesn't she have skill 2? She does have skill 2. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure she's got skill 2 up. But, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was surprised to see him, you know, throw out the bomb from the CR. The CR could have her bomb now that the Annabelle cleansed. But I think he was just trying to get those dots on the Annabelle to get a 5 to finish it off. But it was just not enough. And Annabelle, you know, does get that heal off. But Sappy's still looking pretty good here.
Yeah, man, best daughter for real. When you're banking on the dots to do your damage for you. Oh, wait! Huge opportunity for Sappy. Yeah, this is looking big. He could kill Shiho and Annabelle at the same time, fall to the same bomb, and now Sappy's tied it up 1-1 against ZEZAS.
Yeah, definitely not going down without a fight here. You know, very well drafted by Sappy there. I love that draft from him. And yeah, we're going to, you know, 1-1. We're tied up here, and it's anyone's game. You know, that Gianna CR combination was super strong for him.
What a classic combo. The sisters work so well together, right? Gianna can set up a bomb. She can open the team up for CR to place one, and CR can detonate them. It's a classic. It's a tale as old as time.
It really is, and we see why, you know, ZEZAS banned that Gianna in the first match. We'll see. Most likely ZEZAS pre-banning that Gianna once again, although HAEGANG will be available for him now.
Yeah, honestly, so MVPs today, Josie's probably at the top, much to the dismay of all of us at home in chat, you know. But she's been cool. Shiho's been cool, even though he lost that last game. I'm sure Oliver would be up there too. Who's on your MVP list today so far, Topa?
Yeah, definitely those. And I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by the Twin Angels. You know, ZEZAS also did pick the Water Twin in the first match and did very well with it. And now picking it up once again, not actually taking Oliver. You know, there's no Oliver in the pre-ban, and neither player favoring Oliver just yet.
Yeah, they're taking their sweet time to get to him. I'm surprised nobody wants one. But now that there's all these fire monsters, maybe they won't want him.
Oh yeah, but Sappy seems to know exactly what he's doing here. You know, drafting very fast here, going for Chandra and a Velagil. You know, a little bit of that old meta here. I really expected him to pick the Oliver here. You know, he doesn't have any wind units. There's a Josephine now on the side of ZEZAS, and you know, as mentioned, the Oliver is an excellent counter into that, and also, you know, would prevent picks such as I mean, Chao and Annabelle. Yeah, there's so much water coming from ZEZAS. Wow. It would have been nice to have an Oliver. Now, I mean, even if you last pick it, it's just going to be bad.
ZEZAS has picked himself into a position where all he has to do is ban last pick. It doesn't matter what it would be. He could just ban it, and he'd be fine. Like, look at all the water units, all the high volatility water units up against a team that is banking on its 2 fire picks.
Yeah, Sappy not respecting the Chao here. I was expecting the ban on the Chao, because, you know, you do have a reset and stun from the Okeanos to, like, somewhat counter as Annabelle, but you have, I mean, Okeano skill 3 does have some pushback, but very little pushback to keep this Chao controlled.
That really surprised me too, man. I firmly thought that the Chao was going to be the ban. Let's see, maybe he knows something we don't, but I don't know. I think there should have been a little bit more respect on it. Just because he saw a lot of play last year doesn't mean he's gone anywhere.
Yeah, you know, yeah, the only defense break on the side of Sappy here is the Velagil as well. Like, Chandra's skill 1 can do some solid damage, I know, you know, since even playing last year, right, I didn't respect Chao a whole lot, you know, with like Sagar and Chandra. Like, that combination can usually deal with the Chao. But the thing is, there's no Sagar here. Sagar has the pushback, Sagar has the defense break that enables you to keep that Chao controlled and deal that damage to him. But there's none of that on the side of Sappy right now. And yeah, I don't know how he's going to be able to deal with this Chao.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't know if Chao has a lot of believers in 2025, but I think ZEZAS is trying to convert some people.
Yeah, ZEZAS is definitely one of those believers. He also loved this pick last year, and, you know, obviously did him very well. So we'll see how he does here now. You know, the HAEGANG does gain some bar every time that Chao passive does cleanse, so that's a little bit bonus as well. But I don't know.
Yeah, the Asher goes down, but I haven't really lost faith too much. You know, maybe it's cope. Maybe I'm coping, but like I think Chao is actually going to be a pretty big deal in this game.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. You know, the Ashore went down, sure, don't really pay too much attention to that. All I'm looking at is this Chao, really. Will this Chao be able to stay healthy? Because as soon as you start damaging this Chao, he actually does deal less damage. And there are heals on the side of Sappy. And he obviously has a huge turn advantage here with, you know, the slows coming out of Chandra, as well as the attack bar boost. Every time the Chao cleanses himself, the Hagen gives him bar, Belju gives him bar.
And now you can just go straight through the hug with no problem, like chipping away at the Okeanos. This is looking pretty good. It is a little bit of a bummer for ZEZAS that the Josephine has spent most of her time here with her cooldowns increased and stunned. But I think Chao is doing this on his own.
Definitely. I would have liked to see the Okeanos reset go on the Chao, because Chao does have skill 2 available, and that is actually going to be the end of Okeanos right there. And,
and that's it. He says, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, this Chao is also proccing quite a bit. You know, I think it's got 3 procs in the last 3 turns, so that is definitely not helping out Sappy's case here.
No, I still think what was it, Annabelle got banned. I still think that maybe Chao should have been the ban, even though it feels really bad, right?
Yeah, I fully agree. You know, Annabelle, once again, we do have the, like, you knew your last pick was going to get banned. Like, it really didn't matter what your last pick did. As long as it's, you know, wind unit, it was probably going to be banned by ZEZAS. And so you know you have your Okeanos, and Okeanos does have a reset and a stun, although, I mean, it is a water unit in Annabelle, but Chao is also water. So, like, it's not like Okeanos does any better into the Chao. It definitely does better into the Annabelle. And, you know, again, like, Sappy does have 3 units to ZEZAS' 2, but I mean, all ZEZAS needs is this Chao to win this game.
That's all he needs, and it's so funny too, because as Sappy takes away other monsters, he's incidentally making Chao stronger. The justice is just growing.
Yeah, that it is. And I mean, unless this Velajul gets some miraculous defense break into a violent proc to crit and something like that, there's just no way.
There's nothing. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see that. I would love to see that, but I don't think it's gonna happen. That's a GG. ZEZAS taking another point and now sitting at match point for the whole set.
Yeah, very well drafted by ZEZAS there once again. You know, utilizing so much water. I guess seeing that Sappy didn't have any wind monsters in this draft, and again, very sturdy. That, I mean, all those shields of Josephine and the Water Twins, the heals coming out of, you know, either from like Annabelle or then, you know, that Chao just as the solo threat that I do still believe should have been in the ban.
Yeah. 100%. ZEZAS has got to be feeling pretty good right now. He's well on his way to a semifinals position. He just needs one more win up against the SWC newcomer, Sappy, in order to punch his ticket towards that semifinal slot.
Yeah, here we go into round 4. We see the last round's pre-bans here. Again, I'm very surprised that like Oliver wasn't in the pre-ban and was not in the draft at all. We'll see if that changes here in game 4.
I think Sappy's going to have to pay, he's going to have to give a little bit more respect to the Chao. I don't think we're going to see a same draft pattern as before because, you know, going water, water, fire, fire, it really just opens you up to something strong like that. You can just pick water and be neutral. You can't do that with ZEZAS because he's going to immediately pick it apart.
Yeah, ZEZAS is almost known for his Chao too. You know, we saw in ZEZAS player profile that Chao was in his most banned monster. So ZEZAS really does love this unit. And so like Sappy should have, you know, done that homework and knows that he needs to bring some sort of wind units, or otherwise, you know, that Chao is going to be looming on the horizon.
Pre-bans go out, Hagang's gone, Ciara's gone. There's the Oliver, super fast, right? And that's how we expect people to be picking him once you're into the pick ban phase, because he is just so crucial right now. Tetsuya is a great answer, and, you know, we love a Shiho.
That we do, and, you know, Sappy once again now has Gianna available. He's going to be pre-banned the Heigang, and ZEZAS also knows that, so he decides to pre-ban the Ciara to break out that Ciara-Gianna combo. Sappy now taking the Zenisec early to, you know, counter the Shiho a little bit.
Oh, and now he's doing he's splashing a little bit of Layla in on his comp too. You know, a little cleanse block goes a long way against these units.
Yeah, it really does, and this is a pretty good or popular combination here as well, with the Shiho being fast and swift, taking that turn 1, getting a stun, and that stun now gives 20% attack bar to Layla, which is going to make Layla follow up super easily and then be able to get that AoE strip as well as you know, all those debuffs.
Ultimately, Sappy locks in Okeanos as his last pick. I had almost forgotten about the Yanhong. It appeared in the most pick, most banned for Sappy, and I completely forgot about her. And ZEZAS bringing back an old champion from last round. It's Chow.
Yeah, I do like that Chow pick once again. You know, I mean, there is an Oliver now on the board, but that is likely to be getting banned out. And as a result, you kind of had to ban out the Chow because there's, again, like very little pushback. And well, most of the damage on Sappy's side is going to be coming from bombs. And we know Chow just cleanses those when he takes a turn.
Yeah, Chow would have been a little too problematic because every turn just gets rid of what he's trying to do. Looks like ZEZAS is in a position where he'll be taking turn 1 with the Shiho. No speed lead left on the side of Sappy, so ZEZAS has a window to kind of do whatever he wants here on this first turn.
Yeah, we'll see how this Layla performs. You know, Shiho is likely going to be getting that stun, but can Layla land those cleanse blocks? Because if she doesn't, this ZENIZEK is just going to be picking all the units right back up.
Look at that. She got 2, at least 2, and 2 pretty crucial ones. The third!
Yeah, that is very well done. And, you know, ZEZAS also having the speed advantage here. There are no Swift units inside of Sappy, so the entire team of ZEZAS is moving first here, and that Ashore is probably looking to just confirm the kill on this Gianna.
Oh my god, and with the swiftness at that too.
Wow.
Taking out the Gianna, making it look easy on this last game, applying those defenses, the defense break, and just slamming in the damage on it. And now all of a sudden, Sappy's playing from a deficit, and it doesn't look like he's got what it takes to take down the Shiho at all.
Wow. Triple resistance right there. Yeah, I was going to say, like, that is a very bad not getting the violent proc on that Bella Jewel to get the immunity back up, and Shiho is the skill 2 available, but I mean that skill 2 name is all or nothing, and it was definitely nothing right there. So Sappy does have a little bit of a chance here because Shiho is moving out of invisibility now, and if Okeanos can get a nice skill 3 off, he might be able to do something here.
That's a good point. That's the second time we've seen nothing from that all or nothing skill. This is a big moment for Sappy. Is he going to falter to this, or is he going to put up a last-ditch effort here and turn it around?
Yeah, Ashore has all skills available once again. Okeanos does have a reset, so can look to increase the cooldown there a little bit, but this is quite the deficit to come back from. It is not impossible, but it is very difficult.
Oh, and now he doesn't have the cleanse. Looks like Shiho's going to be eating that bomb.
Yeah, we'll see how much damage this bomb does as well. You know, ZENIZEK, okay, 11,000. That is actually quite a squishy Shiho, because 11,000 was nearly enough to take it down, and ZENIZEK getting a nice violent proc. Going to be able to land another bomb here.
Yeah, uh-oh, maybe ZEZAS is having a harder time maintaining this lead than we initially thought.
Yeah, might be, but Layla comes through here with the skill 2 again, getting those slows as well as the cleanse block, so ZENIZEK can't do anything there.
Reapplying the stun, that skill pushes back attack bar if there's already debuffs applied. Oh, gets a violent proc out of the stun, and now he can pass back the glancing to somebody. I think you put that on, yeah, you can throw that right on the Tetsuya.
Yeah, but this Ashore has skill 3 available, so it's going to be picking up that Fire Megumi Tetsuya right back up and looking to do some massive damage here, taking out that Okeanos.
Here we go. Defense break applied. Okeanos bites the dust, and it's looking tough for Sappy yet again. We've been here before in this very same round.
Yeah, we have, but it is still not over. You know, if this ZENIZEK can land a couple bombs on this, it's 2 turns away. That is far away. But if it could land a few bombs this Ashore, there's still a chance. Okay, that is the start.
Oh, and the good silence from Ashore. That might be the landing. That silence might be the thing that's really the last nail in Sappy's coffin for this round.
Yeah, needs his villager to get a proc to heal up this ZENIZEK, but doesn't get it. Now the heal block is there too. And Ashore has skill 3 available, going to be taking out this ZENIZEK, and that is going to be game over.
Well done. This was a close game, but still a pretty great control example from ZEZAS here. He drafted a very competent bruiser team into this.
He definitely did. You know, Sappy did have a chance there. If he had gotten a little bit more fortunate with a couple of violent procs or resistances here or there, definitely could have made a comeback there. But ZEZAS definitely, you know, had the upper hand from the get-go. He just having that speed lead, having his whole team move in front of Sappy's and just taking out that Gianna before it got a turn, really set him up for success there.
And that's what you expect from someone like ZEZAS. You know, he had his tournament debut last year, and he left such a strong impression, chat. We all know his name now, and now he's out there streaming. You can watch him play, and you can learn a lot from him as well. And he showed everybody what he's got, again, already here on day one. Can't wait to see him play more down the line. He's gonna move forward to the semifinals, and you'll see more of SAPPYYY on day 3 next week, Saturday. And meanwhile, here are the highlights for the set we just saw, Topa. This is that game where ZEZAS brought the Chroma and the Annabelle. I really liked these choices.
Yeah, the Annabelle proved to be really some sort of core pick for ZEZAS here in this set. You know, just having that sturdiness, having that heal, the cleanse, and even the offensive capabilities of the Annabelle we saw here, and getting that defense break on the Efna, and then Chroma just able to capitalize on that. And yeah, really just did a lot of work for ZEZAS, and yeah,
it just didn't quite work out enough. And this was the win. This is the win for SAPPYYY, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's able to take this game. A couple clutch bombs here. Ciara combined with Asher are able to win this game for him.
Yeah, definitely. You know, bringing those triple bombers even. He had the Ciara, Gianna, and the Zenisek. Really, you know, proving to be, I guess, too much for the Annabelle to handle here. As much as, you know, I was saying praise for Annabelle here. You know, those bombs, he can only cleanse so often, right? That cleanse does have a cooldown, unlike many of the passive cleansers like Rakuni or Angela or others.
Really showing off Annabelle's buff as well. Like, that extra healing felt pretty good.
Yeah, definitely did, but unfortunately, yeah, in this match wasn't quite enough. But I mean, overall in the set was definitely enough for ZEZAS. Still taking a very convincing victory over SAPPYYY, you know, in a 3-1 manner.
Okay, and here we are again in game number 3. Going through here. This was the Chow game. This is the one that this was the Chow that, you know, might have seemed a little bit like Cope, but he ended up really proving himself in this one.
Yeah, I did quite like SAPPYYY's draft in this game 3 here. You know, I think he definitely would have had a good chance to take this game had he you know, spanned this Chow here, because we saw SAPPYYY actually control ZEZA's team for most of the time. Like, there was really a lot of control coming out of his side, you know, all these stuns, the slows and stuff like that. But the Chow, there was no pushback, meaning that the Chow was moving and therefore just cleansing all those stuns and doing so much damage, and ultimately, you know, pretty much a solo in the team.
Yeah, big time. And of course, Layla making a big impression on this last game here. Asher taking an early kill. Asher really stood out. He was kind of the unit with the most action this game. Him and Layla, I'd say.
Yeah, Layla showing off that buff too. You know, Layla is a little bit of that case too of getting more publicity. You know, getting that little bit buff. I mean, 20% attack bar is a huge deal, but still, like, in essence, Layla didn't change that much as a unit, as she's been seeing a lot of play in high-level tournaments now.
Yeah, that was super well played from ZEZAS. You know, I think he was appearing in a lot of people's predictions for good reason. Can't wait to see what he does in the semifinals. That'll be honestly, that's going to be a really cool game. BIGV versus ZEZAS.
Yeah, that is 2 world finalists colliding already in day 1 of the America's Preliminaries. So we got something definitely to look forward to. I mentioned that, you know, BADOWNEY versus BIGV was like my game to look forward to, but this is definitely the new game to look forward to. Might even definitely top that one.
That's like, yeah, that is practically America's Cup, like big event level of fight going on just in the prelims. So I'm kind of feeling a little spoiled already, and we still have more games to look forward to as well. Those were just the first 2 in the quarterfinals, guys. We have 2 more quarterfinals, and we have the semis to look forward to just on day 1 here. Let's introduce our next players. It's ZEFA, who has been to many in America's Cup, Topa.
He has, yeah. You know, you see that career 2021, 22, 23, always in the America's Cup. Last year falling a bit short. And also something to note is that he's always just been a quarterfinalist. So ZEFA has been very consistent in making the America's Cup, but has never really excelled there. So I would really love to see, you know, what ZEFA brings to the table here today, and maybe he can make it really far in the tournament this year.
Yeah, he can push to new heights this time around. Yeah, like you said, he's gotten into the quarterfinals of the America's Cup before, but maybe this will be his year to push even further. And his opponent is SOULSHUNTER, new to SWC, but not necessarily the Summoner's more competitive scene, huh, Topa?
Yeah, that win rate on season 32 is not, the highest that we've seen, but the amount of games is the highest that we have seen. That is 1,500 games that he played, and he also did play earlier this year in the Americas Summit.
Yeah, he's also played a lot of games like that. The 53.5% win rate, because I think we've seen so far. I think BIGV might have had the highest win rate we've seen so far, but like that number of games played really stood out to me.
Yeah, definitely. So he does have the experience, even on tournament level, playing in Summit a little bit. But ZEFA is very much a veteran, and excited to see how they match up here.
Me too. I want to ask if SOULSHUNTER is a Souls-like fan. I'm not sure. The name makes me think that he might be, but that's pretty. I'm curious about that. I'm also curious to see what they're going to pre-ban. I wonder if Oliver is going to appear in there.
Yeah, both these players have actually, I feel like they have a slightly different play style from like the meta. They have a couple of LDs that they like to utilize that really, sets them apart from like the typical like Oliver, Shiho, Okeano stuff. And we see a Dark Monkey King. That's actually another win of the bounce patch. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Sunjung Lao. He's real good after the bounce patch.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen Sunjung Lao in like much of the competitive scene. I believe we saw him in Group A of APAC, and now SOULSHUNTER just stealing away that light Gojo from ZEFA.
That's a cool unit. It's funny seeing them have to fight for the light Gojo. That's an impactful unit with the speed lead as well as a cleanse and attack on the same skill.
Yeah, and that is another one of the units that they share is that Tianlang, like this is what I mentioned, that they have a couple of these LDs they actually even share. So it's going to make for a really fun matchup. Both of these players maybe didn't, want to fight each other for that reason here. But now we see Oliver picked into the Tianlang.
Yeah, dude, this is interesting. It's like maybe this is not their ideal matchup. I mean, find me somebody who has their ideal matchup on the bracket with all these strong players, right? But I think what you're saying bears a lot of weight. It's like you're having to fight for the units that you want, more so here. And ZEFA, quick to answer back on the 2 wind units with 2 fire units that are also they also age pretty well throughout a game. I really like Asher. We've seen it a lot, but his kit is fantastic.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Ashore, but for a good reason. He has been performing very well. And now we see another panda, both LD pandas present on ZEFA's side here. After SOULSHUNTER rounds out his draft because Shizuka that is going to be getting banned out, and a Josephine, just to counter that Shiho, really.
And honestly, that might be enough. I mean, with what we've seen so far today, people like picking Josephine at the slightest hint of a stun. I mean, look at this. She's going. She could strip and provoke if she wants, denying Asher his turn. She procs. She's a machine, Topa.
Yeah, she really is. Josephine is definitely a lot of people's hated unit, but a lot of people also, love to pick this unit as well for how strong it is. Like getting that violent proc is just so crucial, because now if Tianlang goes for a stun with the skill 2, he's going to get Josephine on the turn.
Oh my God, look at this. He's just getting fed turns, Topa. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm one of the folks that I love to hate Josephine, because I also like using Josephine.
Yeah, wow, and Shiho also getting quite a few stuns there, but missing the most crucial one in that light Gojo, and just cleansing those right back up. Vanessa now getting a cooldown reset? Wow.
Oh my goodness. ZEFA's doing the best he can to crack through all these barricades that SOULSHUNTER has. He's able to get some big damage in here with Asher, putting the light Gojo within an inch of his life. And unless... Oh! She got it! I was just about to say Shiho can kill that, unless we get a provoke.
Yeah, the Angel was moving in front either way and cleansed that defense break, as well as giving it that shield again. So it's a bit unfortunate. I believe that Fire Bike actually missed a crit on the light Gojo as well. That probably would have been enough to take it out. And now Tianlang coming through with that additional damage, and the Vanessa finishing it off.
Look at this. It's been an uphill battle. It's been an uphill battle for ZEFA, but he's finally cracking through, gets the kill on the light Gojo. But Oliver's proccing. Here he goes.
Yeah, here he comes. There's a reason Oliver has been in the pre-ban quite a bit today. But also, this Vanessa has been performing extremely well. Actually, reasoning more than this Oliver has reset in this match. That is quite interesting to see.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, Topa. The Vanessa has been doing more increasing, than anybody else.
The 100 resist Oliver, dodging all those defense breaks coming out of this Tianlang, and that's going to allow him to stay alive here. But I don't think there's really a good answer that SOULSHUNTER has against this fire Bayek. It has such low cooldowns too, that like even Oliver resetting has to constantly be resetting the Bayek in order to keep those skills down.
Yeah, it's like he has to focus in on him. Luckily, the Tianlang is cutting some of that attack bar that Oliver's gaining, but look at this. It's already his turn again.
Yeah, the shields, reflect damage from the shield is actually proven to be a bit problematic for ZEFA here, as well as it only has that Bayek as the healer. And now SOULSHUNTER not going for the Bayek, but gets the Violent Proc and just get the stun there as well. Angela also getting the Violent Proc, healing up the Oliver even more.
Wow, SOULSHUNTER is kind of stabilizing right now.
Yeah, he is, but ZEFA is also getting that nice Violent Proc coming out of Tianlang and getting that defense break on the Josephine. This is such a close game. It could definitely go either way still.
It is. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable calling this now, because if you look at where Oliver is in terms of health, just based on the last time that I was talking, it's like he's already closer to 100%. The reflect damage takes down Tianlang and soaks up Vanessa's third skill. This is actually not looking stellar for ZEFA. He really needs to crack through these shields that Angela's putting up, but thanks to her passive that reflects damage on hit, it's really impacting ZEFA.
Yeah, he finally got that defense break to Tianlang on the Oliver, and Oliver did get a lot of extra value before that happened. But finally able to get that down, and now he can hopefully start getting the heals out of this Bayek. But SOULSHUNTER notices that the Bayek is the only healer, getting that 2-turn provoke on it. Now looking to keep that lockdown and keeping ZEFA's team at a dangerously low amount of health.
This is oh, he didn't go for the strip, didn't want to get the clap back from the Josephine, didn't want to activate the passive by accident. Shiho falls to Josephine. There's a sentence we're going to be saying a lot today.
Most likely, yeah, but getting the defense break now, Tianlang additional damage, not quite enough to power through. Vanessa does have her skill 3 available, so this Bayek gets stunned though. That's so bad.
Oh no! Dude, I can just imagine. I think ZEFA probably did not love that. Did not love that.
Ooh, but that is not enough damage from the Josephine to take it out, so this Bayek, it's going to be revived, and the Josephine does move in front. Can the Josephine stun this Bayek again? If not, or does he just secure the kill on Tianlang? No, goes to the Bayek and doesn't get it. He went for the all-in play, and now he's getting punished.
A little greedy, to be honest. That was, I know he's still looking fine, but that was pretty greedy.
It definitely was. But Vanessa actually getting a little bit of an unfortunate violent block there. Is forced to hit the Angela pretty much. Doesn't want to get revenge by the Josephine, but then also triggering the Nemesis, which then made the Angela move in front of the Tianlang. As Tianlang likely would have had enough damage just to finish off the Angela there. Now as Angela just resisting everything and just staying alive.
Yeah, I'm still baffled by his greediness. Tianlang would be down. Tianlang would be dead too. But look at this. Oh my god, Angela, the value. The value and weird amount of damage from Angela. Now it's all on Josephine.
Yeah, Vanessa does have her passive up again. Ooh, and getting that important buff remove on that revenge buff. Yeah, Vanessa's going to be reviving the Tianlang right back up. And no Violent Proc. I think that's game over. Skill 1 is killed. Wow.
Whoa. ZEFA, against all odds, taking that round 1 win over Angela, over Josephine, over SOULSHUNTER. Wow, well done from ZEFA. Dude, Topa, so in your mind, did that decision to not take the kill on Tianlang change anything? Was that an impact on the game?
I think so. I think that probably was the game deciding there, because you have we saw that the Angela is definitely 100 resistance, and that ZEFA's units are not that high on accuracy. So the Angela was like resisting a lot of the defense breaks and everything. So the Angela could have soaked up the damage for a while, and that Josephine would have probably been able to deal with the Ashore later. If you get like one more provoke on the Ashore, you can definitely take it out. But we saw at the end, like that Tianlang did over 12,000 damage with that skill 1. That's definitely going to be melting at Josephine at that stage of the game.
Yeah, and also, I favor the taking out the element neutrality over the one that's going to have disadvantage on you too. Like that's exactly. A big one as well. So, well said, man. Yeah, I really think it comes down to that. As much as SOULSHUNTER probably hates to say it, I think it was that decision. Chat loves that Angela Josephine took a loss, though. Chat is reveling in that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. And, SOULSHUNTER may be appealing to chat a little bit more here with a lot more aggressive of a draft now, picking up a Sierra and a Water Monkey Shiho here, but ZEFA, it's first picking that Tianlang really doesn't want SOULSHUNTER to have it.
Yeah, it's a high priority pick for sure. I mean, it denies so much too. I mean, it even tries to deny some of what Shiho's doing on all or nothing, provided he gets the all side, right? But
Yeah, and actually, I mean, so far Tianlang does counter, did counter the Sierra and the Shiho as well as the Chandra. All those do have some sort of attack bar increasing mechanisms. This Angela not so much, and I guess she will be making a return here.
And the Chows, potentially inspired by ZEZAS from that game. Wow.
Yeah, I know a lot of these Brazilian players do value that Chow quite heavily. Maybe that is all ZEZAS is doing, but it is I don't know, it might be a bit early here. Usually, like, the only situation I really like a Chow is on the last pick, when it really has that solo potential. Now ZEFA still has 2 picks here, counter that Chow. And already, there's a lot of defense break from the side of ZEFA, as well as Josephine does do damage, so it's not like he has no answer to the Chow as is.
Yeah, and just as much as there's a lot of defense breaks available on ZEFA's side, there are actually none so far on SOULSHUNTER's side. So that means that Chow is going to be, not necessarily doing his maximum output of damage.
Yeah, definitely. I would like SOULSHUNTER to take another page out of ZEZA's book here, maybe pick like an Annabelle for those defense breaks, the slows, as well as, cleansing those defense breaks that ZEFA might be applying on his side, but picks up a Miles instead for that true damage against the Chroma.
It's a cool choice, and he also feeds a little off the shields that Josephine's putting out. Honestly, I like the ban from ZEFA right now, taking out that support, right? Because it's like, you don't have to worry about Chow quite as much as you did back in that ZEZAS game, because again, there's no defense breaks. I think the Miles is a higher priority than the Chow in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Banning out the Angela is pretty nice. We saw how much issues it was causing for ZEFA in the last round. And, he doesn't have any heals. He does have the shields for a little bit of sustain from Josephine, but still not having any heals, getting rid of that massive healer of Angela is definitely going to be helpful.
Yep, and he's choosing to go for the Shiho first. All of these things carry high threat, so it's you just choose one and stick to it. Big damage coming from that Ciara bomb. Chow can confirm the kill here as well if he wants to. He's just putting it within the dot reach, and so it's going to deny another turn as it soaks up Vanessa's skill 3.
Yeah, I think there was a slight misplay from the side of ZEFA here. I assume his Vanessa and Chroma are tuned, but since SOULSHUNTER moved first and missed a couple of crits, that gave the Chroma attack bar, which can actually make the Chroma move in front of the Vanessa, so that the Vanessa was not able to remove the immunity off of the Ciara before the Chroma moved, and therefore Ciara was able to get that bomb off and kill a unit. And now ZEFA is not looking very good with 2 units already dead and a Chow at full HP.
No, definitely not looking good. The Tianlang was looking like he had something in the tank there, but he unfortunately missed a couple crucial stuns that could have maybe bought Josephine one more turn. Oh no, this is looking like it's a loss for ZEFA, and that's crazy too, because I did favor him in the pick ban phase, to be honest.
Yeah, so did I. I think his draft was pretty solid here, but I think that ban may have crippled him pretty hard though, like banning the Miying, and then again, SOULSHUNTER did take turn 1 and mess up ZEFA speed tuning, use the Chroma passive, and then Sierra able to get that bomb off. Just do so much damage.
Well said, man. Yeah, you put it very well. That's exactly what happened. SOULSHUNTER able to get a win right now over ZEFA, showing he is not going to make this easy for him. He's here to win. He wants to play. So now we're going into game number 3.
Yeah, we have a very close game so far. All sets have been 1-1 after 2 games. So very interesting to see, who comes out with advantage here in game 3.
No sweeps yet. That's great. Shows you how well how well these players are playing.
Yeah, that too. And we see the Dark Monkey return the pre-ban from SOULSHUNTER. Actually pre-ban of the Angela now from ZEFA. Wow.
I don't doubt why he'd want Angela in the pre-ban, though, because, man, that thing was so annoying. SOULSHUNTER choosing the light Gojo first. It's a high priority pick for these 2 players as they fight over it, and ZEFA quick to answer back with the Vanessa Monkey.
Yeah, not taking the Tianlang this time, leaving it available for SOULSHUNTER if he so desires to pick that unit. But now SOULSHUNTER doesn't have his Angela. I know he likes his unit a lot. He plays with this unit nearly always, as we've seen in the first two drafts as well. Yeah, it has been picked both times. So we'll see how SOULSHUNTER maybe adapts now to not having that sustain and can't really just go for the war of attrition and win that out.
And what a great pairing it normally is, too, for Josephine, since now you have a few different units that can apply the shield, so you just get more reflect damage per capita than normal. Diana, another appearance from the balance patch. Now she just applies dots in general.
Right, yeah, and Diana is, I'm like a bit surprised, I guess, that we haven't seen more Diana with how strong Shiho is, because at least back in the day when Shiho was drafted in RTA, every time we drafted Shiho, there was a Diana. So, like, that made Shiho just, like, completely unplayable. And that is a Velasca that I did not know that ZEFA had. Wow.
I didn't know that either, Topa. Well, so chat too, for context as well. We saw this in the most banned section for BADOWNEY in his player profile, and in getting ready for the tournament today, Topa and I were talking about her, and we were like, we don't really think we're going to see her today following that balance patch. So I'm really surprised that she was picked. Of course, she got banned too, but she got nerfed pretty hard too, Topa.
Yeah, I'm also a bit more surprised that that was a Velasca and not a Tian Lang, but I guess it didn't matter in the end since it got banned either way, because, ZEFA does have a Tian Lang, so like SOULSHUNTER picking up the Diana against a player who has a Tian Lang, it's again a bit questionable, but either way, yeah, last pick gets banned, so no harm done there.
So he went for a skill 3 with the light Gojo there, Topa. Was he just trying to see who has... Was he just measuring HP, or what do you expect was going on with that?
Well, he wanted to cleanse up the Diana there, but in doing so, that obviously gives a bar to the Hei Gang, and now the Hei Gang moved in front of the Patter, which is pretty awkward, since now Patter, has the immunity to go after the Hei Gang, and ZEFA is correctly just putting all of his eggs in this Diana basket and trying to get rid of this unit.
Roger that. Yeah, and ZEFA is making quick work of it too. It looks like she's about to bite the dust.
Yeah, I guess this is probably why you don't see Diana these days, because that unit is just a bit too slow and stationary and dies to all of these much more dynamic units that are able to, manipulate attack bars or stuff like that as well. And yeah, ZEFA is in a commanding position here, especially with this Mi. I don't know how it's going to be taken down.
Yeah, the Mi Ying, it's like we're seeing the power of this unit before. I mean, he was banned out last time, and now that he's here again, we're seeing why this unit was drafted to begin with. Like, just pumping out so much damage and also having it protect himself, though admittedly slightly less than maybe a few weeks before, but still, he's good enough to be drafted in SWC.
Right, and the big thing about the passive is, that immunity to stun, or I guess if you get stunned, you pop your skill 2, which now just cleanses yourself from that stun, and we saw that happen in that game as well. That Hei Gang did stun it, but no problem. Ming passive picks it right back up and even gives heals to the team, so it's even a benefit to have your Ming stunned a lot of the time, and that worked out wonders for ZEFA, and he had a commanding victory there.
The anti-crowd control units are just having a field day today. Like, we're seeing a lot of things that can either wake up from a stun, like we got the Pater, the Zenisek, the Josephine, the Mi Yings, or things that are just outright immune, like the light Jack-o'-lantern Misty. Like, these units are all like very ideal right now, because you don't want to just get them stunned. You don't want them just sitting there on SWC.
Yeah, that is true, but we'll see what ZEFA does in this game 4 now that Angela is back on SOULSHUNTER's side. I mean, Angela sure definitely does have counters, but it has definitely been an issue for ZEFA.
Now that I provided that list, whoa, dude, we got a little bit of, yeah, fight me, take the weights off, bring whatever you want, fight me at your best. I don't need to pre-ban anything. That's crazy. I mean, he does have first pick as well, so he can take whatever he wants.
Man, I love ZEFA. He has historically in previous SWCs also been picking like Ian. He definitely is, not one to be afraid of mixing up in SWC and doing, I guess, a little bit of BM there as well in that pre-ban of banning the light.
Some showmanship. Yeah.
A unit, but
yeah, he's given us a good show here. I appreciate that, ZEFA. That's awesome. That's good stuff. And now though, that's kind of got to be a little bit infuriating for SOULSHUNTER. I think SOULSHUNTER is probably taking this as an invitation, right? And now he's got a fire under him.
Right, yeah, that's just taunting SOULSHUNTER a little bit there, and maybe finding the mental game a little bit too. Like, yeah, I'm up 2-1, I'm confident, I don't need a pre-ban to beat you. But we'll see. SOULSHUNTER does have all of his options available except for that light Gojo that he pre-banned himself. But now going for a lot of speed on that Efna.
Yeah, and now this could also be a good position for potentially Tian Lang again as well, because there's so much attack bar gain. Of course, it activates the Josephine, but what are you gonna do? She's gonna get activated.
Yeah, I would love the Tian Lang here. It was interesting to see like ZEFA pick the Tian Lang so early in the first 2 games, and then like in the last game and this game where I feel like the Tian Lang is extremely strong, he's not picking up that unit. So I guess ZEFA must know something that I don't about Tian Lang, because he's not drafting it here once again, Evan.
Oh yeah, he's not taking it. And SOULSHUNTER taking the Okeanos. Let's see what's going on. ZEFA has concluded his aura farming in what is potentially the last round of this set here. He's sitting at match point right now. Who's he going to ban? What would you ban here?
I think you probably have to ban out the Efna here if you're ZEFA. That turn 1, you can just S2 into S3, and that might be a dead monkey right off the rip. So wisely banning out that Efna, and SOULSHUNTER looking to push the speed advantage, as he does have 2 speed leaders. ZEFA's only 1. But I don't know, this monkey might still take turn 1 here.
We're off to the races. Shiho is taking that turn 1. Let's see where ZEFA wants to put it. He's going to strip and stun up the Okeanos. Of course, Josephine, again, going to get activated, but that's going to happen. Sometimes you just got to play into it.
Right, yeah, definitely a smart choice going to Okeanos here, getting rid of that resetter, but Megumi missing the stun on this Layla here, and now Layla is going to be doing a lot.
Yeah, she is a problem, big time. And also the cleanse block hurts a ton for Josephine too. So now, eventually, if she incidentally gets stunned and wakes up through her passive, that cleanse block is going to make sure that stun stays in place. But we'll have to see if that actually ends up coming to term. Stealing away that invincibility is a goated move for Megumi.
Yeah, definitely getting a little bit of protection for itself, as this pattern does move in front of the Miying, so it's going to be cleansing it up, and now Miying is looking to do a lot of damage here.
And the slow on... I'm feeling the slow on the Oliver right now, too. He's just crawling up with the attack bar. Shiho is failing to get any relevant stuns, unfortunately. It really has been nothing more than all today.
It really has, yeah. Shiho, still very much a player favorite unit here to be drafted a lot, but really not performing very well. But still, ZEFA is in a pretty commanding position here, as this Okeanos is going to go down to this Hatter one, I guess. Don't even need the meeting.
Yeah, it's almost like he wasn't attack broken there, too. So it's like, the proc was a nice little way to round up on that hit. Okay, so now if you're Mi Ying, you just put up the counterattack buff, because ultimately Oliver is going to be taking a turn in a second. So now it's a lot weirder to go into a Mi Ying if he's got counterattack.
Yeah, exactly. I love that play. A lot of players just don't really utilize that skill too, just waiting for it to be applied manually, or automatically by the skill 3. But now it would have gotten reason had he not that counterattack up. But now this incentivizes the Oliver to attack the Mi Ying, and I guess that makes him somewhat safe here, now that Megumi can't stun him, and Mi Ying is going to be on a tear here for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just shredding away at Megumi's HP. He is not long for this world. He's got maybe one more turn left in him, Topa.
Yeah, we'll see what he can make do with it, does steal that heal over time. Doesn't get stunned, so Josephine passive is not activated, but Mi Ying does not have a counterattack up now. Oliver does have other problems to deal with, and gets double resisted.
Oh my goodness,
yeah,
bro, and ZEFA's ploy, it's worked. He said, fight me at your best, and he meant it. And he walks away with 3 points to 1, and now he's moving forward to the semifinals. Well played, ZEFA.
Yeah, that was an awesome plays coming out of ZEFA. Yeah, I love that pre-ban. Again, a little bit of a taunting there going on, and just, that was probably the cleanest victory that he had in all these sets as well. So, very well drafted, and yeah, clearly does not need the pre-ban to win there.
No, that was a great message. I love it when we get a little inkling of player expression inside SWC, and it's usually more seen in places where there's either the camera involved, or it's like, they're actually in person at the America's Cup proper, like on October 11th in Brazil. But even here, when no faces are shown, you can still feel what ZEFA's feeling, and that is so cool that we got that. And you know what? Credit where it's due. he showed up. You know, it wasn't all talk. He actually did it. And here's the highlights from the set we just watched, Topa.
Right, yeah, he definitely, backed it up. And another thing is that the emotes are available in like these tournaments, but actually we don't see the emotes. As a past player, you can emote, but the
Really?
audience doesn't actually see those emotes coming through. So yeah, like our only way of getting that little bit of player expression, which is always super fun. And ZEFA is a great guy, great character, and yeah, excited to see more of him later today.
Dude, what a fun insight, by the way. Actually, I've never known that you can emote inside and it's just not seen from the spectator side. That's fascinating. I honestly, I'd want to see the emotes. I love the emotes. I think that's great. People know that. People say that I love the emotes, and it's true, I do. But
Yeah.
it's fascinating, Topa. I love that. Well played.
Either
Well
way,
played.
yeah, ZEFA doing a great job here with that. Miying really, when it was in the match, that Miying did so much, like we see right in this highlight. To gain that just one violent proc, it's almost just killing an entire unit. And I thank you one at that, like Gojo is usually built quite sturdy.
Yeah, and just shredding through it, right? That was the word that we used before, and it goes to show. ZEFA's too powerful, right? Then folks in chat loved it. They said that was the correct pre-ban, by the way.
That was the game-winning pre-ban right there. So
It was.
yeah, ZEFA is looking
wasn't
extremely strong
Oliver.
this year.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Man, what a show. And we still have one more quarterfinals. And it's crazy too to say, but we still have an awesome game ahead of us because we haven't even seen RAIGEKI play yet, Topa.
Oh yeah, RAIGEKI last year, he fell a bit short to the America's Cup, but he was mixing it up. He was bringing Draco and the Chow and some other units. So first, let's look at his opponent ZEZIM here.
Yeah, ZEZIM, this is another SWC newcomer. It's his debut this year, which is always exciting. I love seeing the new blood mixed in with some of the recognizable faces, because sometimes we just have these explosive revelations of new players. And ZEZIM is going up against a long-time SWC player, a previous America's Cup winner in 2022. It's RAIGEKI.
Yeah, RAIGEKI man needs no introductions. Look at that win rate to 62.4% with nearly 1,300 games played. So he is, a tie down the ladder. He is a demon here in SWC, and definitely a tough challenge for ZEZIM in his very first SWC game.
Could you imagine, like, you're brand new to the SWC scene, and your first matchup is against RAIGEKI? Dude, I'd cry.
Yeah, I could not imagine. I have fought RAIGEKI in the past in SWC as well, and he came out victorious. So RAIGEKI is a very, very strong player. Has been around for many years. I believe he's the longest standing competitor in the Americas region currently. So excited to see him play here.
Well, yeah, it's like you said it, right? They practically needed to break into a new paragraph for all of his accolades in SWC because he had so many lines of dialogue on there. The Light Twin Angels catch a ban, and so does Tion Lang.
Yeah, interesting to see that the Light Twin Angels actually gets banned. I guess ZEZIM did see that RAIGEKI has been utilizing that monster a lot, but recently, obviously, they did get a slight nerf. And also this shift in meta, these higher base speed units. I don't know how much emphasis RAIGEKI is really putting on those Light Twin Angels.
Curious to see about that as well. ZEZIM locking in that Fire Megami early. I was just going to say, it's practically begging for a Josephine in this tournament run.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I myself played a little bit of a Fire Megumi with the Shiho, and there was a Josephine about 29 out of 30 wings that I did every single day. So that unit is a very strong counter against those two that, love to stun. And also the Heigang is a great pairing with that, since, you're getting constantly stunned, you're constantly getting shields, and then, that almost just nullifies the Fire Megumi completely, because every time it moves, it does remove a buff, and then that cleanses and gives you bar, and it's just a whole uphill battle.
Yeah, I love what you said, because that's the problem with units like Heigang sometimes. You pick a Heigang for that opening turn, and you're like, whoops, I forgot to bring anybody that actually rebuffs my team. So now RAIGEKI's in a really good position if that Heigang makes it through, because Josephine can rebuff the team, and so can Miying, thanks to that skill 2 that applies the heal buff.
Yeah, I love that pick of the Miying, as well as that Aya, that Wind Nobara making another appearance. There are no heals on the side of ZEZIM, and, that Layla is obviously providing a lot of debuffs. Interesting last pick there.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, I know ZEZIM it hasn't locked it in, but I was going to call out a Seimei because, Seimei she's a little bit helpful because she limits the number of turns that buffs can be applied. Oh, I love this, dude. This is one of those units that like climbed up into popularity, the Water Devil Maiden. She can basically do what Jogun does again, but people like it more because it's, you can strip through it.
Yeah, ZEZAS picking, 2 units that can just put away units temporarily in the match, and that's extremely strong in this slower lineup that RAIGEKI is bringing. He does have that 33 lead from Oliver, but like I doubt there are any Swift units, and none of these units are going to be built that fast. So ZEZAS will be taking the turn 1 here, and we'll see what he can do with it. There's not a lot of direct damage on RAIGEKI's side, save for like Josephine's skill 1, right? But Aya, the Wind Nobara, is just going to be able to drain this entire team. I'm actually low-key kind of surprised she made it through, because now anytime she just incidentally catches a debuff, it's gonna hurt. What I'm low-key surprised about that, ZEZAS actually using the Shiho skill 3 there. We saw that the Jogun was moving second, so he could have just strolled away the Aya and used the Jogun to strip here, but both that skill 3, and that gives Josephine the turn, and now there's gonna be a lot of control that RAIGEKI is able to put out here and disrupt ZEZAS's team. You're
right. So we saw just the slightest bit of anti-synergy with the Aya and the Heigang, right? Because Heigang ends up cleansing the Aya, the Wind Nobara, as long as something was stripped. But I think it's not enough to say it's like full anti. Like she's still good with him, and now it's not going to matter too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, still getting that debuff there, and now Aya is going to be looking to do quite a bit of damage that once again is recoverable on ZEZAS's side, as there are no healers, so RAIGEKI in a pretty commanding position here.
Good point, by the way. Yeah, there's no sustain. That might as well be destroyed HP because it is not coming back too. That's crazy. I really like what RAIGEKI's brought to the table. So much threat.
Yeah, and that's why, I really would have liked to see ZEZAS just hold off at that Shiho turn 1 and just put that Aya in a scroll. Wow. Wait, did I not get a single debuff on her now? Okay, RAIGEKI's getting a bit unlucky with this Aya. Wow.
Credit where it's due. ZEZAS used Heigang against RAIGEKI there and ripped the skill 2, knowing that Heigang would cleanse it, right? After, because she had a buff on.
Yeah.
Very well played. That was cool.
A lot of provokes there, so this Layla is forced to hit her, and there are the debuffs. There goes another 25% of your maximum HP. And if this Aya procs, everything will be at 1 HP, Evan. Can he do it?
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, a proc would have secured the entire game. Like she could have just skill 2'd and take it. That's one of the most satisfying moments, is when she drains you to 1%, takes it with skill 2.
Now just confirming the kill on that Oliver there. I believe Josephine's passive is actually offline. Yeah, it was offline, so I would like to see that Monkey skill 3 go onto the Josephine when he had that chance. But now, no stuns coming out of the Layla, so Josephine not getting her turn there.
And yeah, that's kind of problematic too, because now you're putting more debuffs on Aya, and a slow is not that powerful on her because it boosts her as well. This is a tall order, even for Shiho.
Yeah, Shiho had a slight chance there getting that, having that invisibility, but Heigang just takes it right away, strips that off, and Josephine will finish the job. A bit closer than I first anticipated. So I think if ZEZAS, I feel like he did have a couple misplays there. Could have maybe navigated that slightly better, and maybe even taken the win away from RAIGEKI there.
Yeah, well done, RAIGEKI. Still love the comp. I love seeing Aya represented on here. Like, that unit is so fun to see, especially in a competitive scene.
It really is. I always love when collaboration monsters show up in these drafts. And speaking of which, there's the collaboration going on currently, but those Tekken monsters are not available to be used. The first time that those can be used are in the Europe Cup.
Yeah, so look forward to that. They're not banned out of SWC fully just until the Europe Cup. That allows people time to kind of test, get the units they want to play with, etc. So you can look forward to them further down the line in the Europe Cup. Pre-bans are out. Miging's gone. Oliver's out for this game too.
Yeah, RAIGEKI also really respecting Oliver. He's first picking it or he's banning it. And ZEZAS now realizing that, Light Twin Angels may not be that big of an issue, but that Miying is. He banned out that Miying in the ban phase last time. And, when he plays a kind of a high-speed CC comp, yeah, I definitely do like the ban on the Miying.
Yeah, dude. That Mi Ying is also climbing up there in that ever-evolving MVP list that I'm building in the back of my head. Like, he's still so strong. He's spectacular. And I think the reason why, because you pointed out, right, you know, he just receives a little bit more damage than before following that balance patch change, right? But it's like, so often you're disincentivized to hit him because he'll either wake up from a stun or he's going to counterattack you.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of you monsters that have, you know, stun on skill 1 or they're in despair, so you kind of want to avoid that unit altogether. And yeah, ZEZAS now, you know, just not backing down. He really wants to fight RAIGEKI on this turn 1. Obviously, RAIGEKI already kind of assuming a turn 2 position with that Josephine being picked in the first round. And now doubling down with the Annabelle once again.
Love that other people are catching on to this Annabelle thing. Like, she's still so cool. And I love that the 3-turn defense break plus the slow, spectacular.
Yeah, slow is just such an insane debuff. You know, it takes away 30% of your speed. So if you have 300 speed, now you're basically just 200 speed. And that is a huge difference. Obviously, when all these units are so fast and then you just start lapping, that gives you such an advantage. And we see another Diana here. You know, maybe that's maybe Diana is the answer against Annabelle.
Oh, it's getting banned apparently? That's crazy.
Yeah, it looks like RAIGEKI is just going to be respecting that Diana. You know, Diana does have a lot of RNG factor, right? There's a lot of potential there. That unit could, in theory, just solo an entire team in one turn if it gets enough violent procs. But so maybe RAIGEKI just wants to take away that volatility from ZEZAM's side. Yeah,
and it does make. Oh, interesting. I was really expecting the Chow ban on that too. That's a common one, but Josephine's not bad. Josephine's not bad at all. But yeah, I think RAIGEKI in banning the Diana saw that like it makes Annabelle's skill 3 way worse, right? Because you're feeding her.
Yeah, that is Annabelle's skill 3 is going to be very backbreaking for ZEZAM to deal with here. But so is that Chow, you know. Now Annabelle does have the defense break set up into Chow, but he does have the Jogun scroll here to maybe disrupt RAIGEKI's team a little bit.
Ooh. Good stun that ZEZAM got right there, like locking down that Annabelle early. Of course, Asher can kind of cleanse that up if he wants, but unfortunately the attack bars are not going to kind of be optimal for that.
Yeah, looks like it's not going to be the case, but that might change anyways with this. I'm missing the scroll.
Oh no, that's a bad resistance. Yeah. Ooh, yikes. Yeah, if you're ZEZAM, you hate to see that because, man, that Chow is going to eat the Shiho alive, dude. That Justice goes through that invincibility.
Yeah, it does. And now, you know, not able to use the Okeano skill 3 either. Just has to kind of reset that Bayek here, and that is going to be an end to the Okeanos here very fast. And Chow even getting a final proc. Wow.
Wow, does RAIGEKI have somewhere to be? He's like, he's playing this really fast. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, but you know he can't go anywhere yet. If he does take this win here against ZEZAM, which is obviously not over. Even I mean obviously RAIGEKI is most likely going to be winning this match, but we have seen reverse sweeps before, and yeah, it's not impossible for ZEZAM to come back here. But either way, RAIGEKI would obviously move on to semifinals to play against ZEFA.
Yeah, it would. And remember, guys, best of 5. We can't get too excited here. Like, you know, RAIGEKI's got to do this again. That gives a lot of room for ZEZAM to prepare, right? You know, he should be taking his time thinking about how he can change things for the next game, but I know it's hard to do that and play at the same time.
Yeah, it definitely is, you know. Once again, you know, these players are under a lot of pressure. RAIGEKI is no stranger to that pressure, so probably does have the upper hand as well. You know, ZEZAM haven't seen him, you know, in any tournaments before. So like this best of 5 format might be new to him as well, so might not be so comfortable with like adapting on the fly and thinking about counters or even playing with free ban.
Oh, he put it on the Twin Angels. I was low-key expecting him to put that on the Water Monkey King, though it doesn't matter too much, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, at this point it doesn't matter, and also the Water Monkey King does have skill 3 available, so it wouldn't be able to get the invisibility before that bond goes off. Well, barring that, it wouldn't have gone slept like that, but either way, very well drafted and played by RAIGEKI here as he takes game 2.
Well done. Yeah, you're right. I had miscounted the turns. I'd forgotten skill 3 was online already. RAIGEKI finding himself in a point advantage here. If he does that one more time, he moves forward to the semifinals.
Yeah, this could be our first 3-0 of the day. Once again, you know, we don't want to count out ZEZAM here. Every player here is very capable, very accomplished, you know, in being, you know, in defeating anyone, right? Anyone can beat anyone here for sure. But RAIGEKI is well on his way to that first 3-0 of the SWC America's Preliminaries.
100%. We got the Light Twin Angels returning to the Draco. What is the callback, bro?
The Draco, yeah. I think RAIGEKI is banning the Draco from himself so that he doesn't do anything stupid here now, So he's he's not messing around. RAIGEKI wants this win.
Dude, it's all about the mental with RAIGEKI. That's awesome. What a great bit. Yeah, he's keeping himself from doing anything crazy.
Yeah, and just picking that Oliver once again, getting that speed lead advantage. And ZEZAS now trying to see what can he do to counter that.
Good question. Shiho's been great. Love the elemental diversity here. RTA 101 on display. We got water, wind, and fire.
Yeah, ZEZAS does switch up his draft a little bit. In the first game, he answered the Oliver with a Fire Megumi and the Shiho. That then obviously just saw like the anti-stun, anti-CC team coming out from RAIGEKI that did super well. And now, he opted to go over the Okeanos instead, as well as the Water Twin Angels to provide that little bit of sustain, as well as obviously all the cooldown increases and decreases and damage from Okeanos.
I suppose a Josephine could go decently well here, but it's really only up against the Juno Despair activations as well as Shiho. But let's see what he wants to pull out for this one. And Sekhmet, this is only our second Sekhmet game we've seen so far.
Yeah, Sekhmet feels okay, but I really don't like this Heigang pick here. And this Heigang pick offers very little. You have, you do have the shields, I guess, from the Water Twin, but it really isn't that consistent. As well as there isn't really, there's no cleansing or anything of this sort really going on. So you're not really getting value from the attack bar boost from Heigang either.
Yeah. Here we go, guys. What is potentially the last round in this set, RAIGEKI versus ZEZAS. Can he secure the first sweep?
And also, even making the Heigang even less valuable is the fact that the Sekhmet is off will, but actually, somehow manages to completely dodge the stun coming out of this Water Monkey. So quite fortunate start for ZEZAS over here.
Crazy. Okay, so now we got the defense break set up on the Shiho. What can he do with it? What is ZEZAS going to pull out here? Is he able to secure a kill and surprise all of us? I feel like he's lacking damage to do it, but hey, I'm not going to underestimate him.
Yeah, the speed tuning is also a bit awkward here. RAIGEKI does have the 33 speed lead, making his team faster than ZEZAS. So ZEZAS is kind of forced to boost out the Okeanos, the Water Twins, but then that obviously desyncs it from his Heigang. So he's unable to use the Okeanos skill 3 on the first turn here. But that might work out better for him as he now gets the AoE defense breaks for his Okeanos to do massive damage on.
Look at the heal from Juno too, by the way. Like, she just healed up the whole team to 100%. Of course, there's still defense breaks out there, no discounting that. But this is looking pretty good for RAIGEKI.
It definitely is. This Juno is looking very healthy and very dangerous. Now there's still some defense break coming out of this Water Twin Angel. There's not that much direct damage on the side of ZEZAS to take out this Juno.
Oh, a double crit here. Could be enough to kill it if he wants to sink it in, but it might be better just to invest in one of the units that's going to be sticking around.
Yeah, opts to go for that. Knowing that it's not just about killing this monkey here. He's already on the back foot, so maybe he has to be a little bit greedy with those skills. And now maybe not quite enough to take out the monkey here. And the skill to whiff glance and getting 2 stuns.
Wow, that's pretty great. I just don't think that ZEZAS comp has the necessary sustain to keep up with what RAIGEKI's putting out.
Yeah, the RAIGEKI room qualities is really coming through here. All the damage to artifacts is, and even landing all these stuns with the Shiho is just very, very nice. And Okeanos goes down. Monkey's still alive, getting the skill 3 off. Wow.
Wild what banning Draco will do for a guy.
Yeah, this is again, we see a phenomenal pre-ban, just securing the set for RAIGEKI here, getting the 3-0 victory, first one of the tournament, and very, very well played.
Wow. Now that's exactly how you would expect someone of RAIGEKI's caliber to play. It's crazy the level of gameplay we've gotten to see just in the day one of the prelims. This is going to be a great stretch of tournaments for the Americas region, guys. So, if you're already enjoying this, just remember we have we have 2 semifinals games still ahead of us, as well as day 2 tomorrow. So if you're having fun today, make sure to be here again tomorrow, same time, same place as well. And we've got our semifinals coming up because we have yet to find the 2 that are going to be qualified for America's Cup here, Topa.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, the whole goal here today is we have 2 more games to find the 2 people that are going to be, punching their tickets to America's Cup in Brazil on October 11th.
Yeah, that's a big one. Mark your calendars, guys. And if you're going to be there, if you think you can make it to Brazil, please register and come by. That'd be awesome to see you there. Here we go. So ZEZAS was able to do a good try here as well, but the power of the Aya was on full display.
Yeah, it really was that Aya doing so much damage, getting a couple nice violent procs as well that really didn't matter that much, but ultimately I think there was a little bit of a mistargeting on ZEZAM's side, as well as the turn 1. I think he could have had a much stronger turn 1 had he not used the monkey skill 3. And then after that game 1, RAIGEKI maybe got a little bit shook, from that. Okay, that was actually a bit closer than expected. So let's wrap this up. And this, games 2 and 3 were just the dominant showcase from RAIGEKI.
Yeah, and remember, guys, ZEZAS is going to be seeing some more play on day 3. So there is a bottom bracket. This double elimination, best of 5. These players have a lot of opportunities to try to climb their way back up into one of those qualified positions. So it was great seeing ZEZAS take a crack at it there. This is our updated bracket for today. We still have 2 more games ahead of us. Semifinals, best of 5. We got BIGV versus ZEZAS, and then ZEFA versus RAIGEKI. It sounds like I'm just talking about America's Cup right now, Topa.
I know, right? These are all, players that have 3 out of the 4 players have been in the World Finals. 2 out of the 4 players have won America's Cup before. And ZEFA also, very frequent visitor to the America's Cup, as we mentioned.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the games today because it's all leading up to this. I'm sure a lot of folks are checking their predictions. And also, while you're checking stuff out, check out the bottom of the screen because we got our first coupon code of the day. It's got some mana, it's got some energy, as well as some of those SWC emblems that we talked about at the top of the show. And those are by far the most valuable thing right now because we have that exchange shop in the events page. But I don't want to see anybody exchanging them yet because there's some big stuff in there. Make sure you save up the emblems for like the LD scroll, the all attribute scroll, the Devilmon, etc. at your leisure. So yeah, guys, make sure to redeem that. I'll be doing the same in between. Also, if anybody's been summoning for any of the collab units, good luck. Because we are in the middle of a collaboration right now with Tekken 8. Summoner's War meets Tekken 8. The ultimate showdown is happening right now on the Sky Island. Log into Summoner's War and enjoy the collab-exclusive Nat 5 Heihachi giveaway event, collab scrolls, and more rewards. Guys, we will be right back after a short break for our semifinals and day 1 of the Americas prelims. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SWC 2025 America's Cup Prelims. Day 1 is today, and we are pretty deep in it so far, Topa. We are getting ready for the semifinals.
We are, yeah. We have seen 4 amazing games, but we still have 2 more fantastic ones coming up, because these are the ones that really matter, because this is the one where you punch your ticket to America's Cup and avoid having to play all together next week, avoid all that stress and preparation and stuff like that. Like, oh man, like I have to do it next week. Nope, you don't have to if you do it today.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Just show up once. That's the way to do it if you can. But that also, by proxy, means that we have a super exciting Day 3 next week to look forward to, because ultimately, 2 of the players that you see in the semifinalist positions are going to lose their game and find themselves teleported into the future next week, Saturday, for that losers bracket showcase. So we've got BIGV versus ZEZAS coming up first here, Topa. Now, this is a game that I've been looking forward to all day. I was hoping that we would see something like this.
Yeah, either way, this is going to be, a big game here with BIGV against ZEZAS. These are 2 world finalists, they've been in the world finals. Previous winner, and ZEZAS obviously having an amazing debut last year, and just so excited to see what he can do this year.
Oh, yeah. And we saw a little bit of what he's capable of in his games before as well. Can't wait to see how he stacks up against BIGV. Like we said earlier, solid impression during last year's America's Cup. Even gave people like True Whale a run for his money. So this is pretty cool to see. Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm expecting fireworks, Topa.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as you mentioned, ZEZAS almost took the victory over True Whale and made it, to that first place match last year, but just fell short. And, BIGV is definitely another player of like that caliber that like ZEZAS definitely does have the tricks up his sleeve to like potentially take down. And we'll see, what he brings this time. Like last year, he had a Lucifer pick against True Whale as well, so he can definitely be mixing it up and maybe catch BIGV off guard here.
Slamming down that Oliver first pick, as so many have before him. Let's see how BIGV answers back.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see ZEZAS pre-banning that Gianna here, but yeah, BIGV actually opted to pre-ban the Fire Megumi and not the Oliver. We saw in his match against BADOWNEY that BIGV really wanted to get rid of that Oliver. Either he first picked Oliver or he pre-banned it. But, letting ZEZAS have that, and almost like with the Holy Trinity here, of, that element neutrality with the Oliver, Water Monkey, and Okeanos.
Especially of today, at least. The Holy Trinity of today. Dude, make it a quadrinity and throw Josephine in there? Oh, heavens to Betsy. That would... Those are the MVPs from today. Yeah, ultimately, BIGV is kind of letting ZEZAS have his whole ideal comp. It almost seems like ZEZAS is making no caveats here for BIGV.
Yeah, definitely. But BIGV also, just responding to that Oliver first pick with that Vanessa and the Fire Twin Angels. He did that also against BADOWNEY, and it worked extremely well. And now we might see a glimpse of why that Megumi was in the pre-ban, because we see BIGV picking up an Efna. Efna, has obviously fallen out of favor slightly ever since that Megumi got introduced. It just gets basically free turns every time Efna moves with that skill too. But ZEZAS has another couple fire units even to answer that Efna, one of them being Verdhal, which is very strong into that.
And now ZEZAS is feeling pretty comfortable, I'd imagine, in just banning whatever this 5th pick is going to be.
Yeah, I would imagine the same, Whoa, okay. Picking up a Dark Megumi. That is probably signaling a ban on this Verdhal, going for more AoE. But it's also kind of weird because there really isn't like any AoE damage from a BIGV side. So it's a rather strange pick. It does set up defense breaks and, might be able... But yeah, again, there's no follow-up.
Yeah, there's nothing too big to capitalize on what he's putting out. I think you're right, but they certainly are taking a long time to think about that ban.
They are, and BIGV actually notices that ZEZAS is probably going to be banning out the Efna, which is incredible read from him, and therefore bans out the Oliver. There are now 3 fire units inside of ZEZAS, and he still bans out the Efna. Wow.
And no speed lead, so it's looking like maybe BIGV is going to have a little bit more flexibility at the start of the game here with Dark Megumi taking turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see how he can follow this up, but we already see the Verdhal counter pop up. And I believe Megumi does reduce attack power by 40%. So, like, Oh, but it missed on the Okeanos. Okeanos is going to be cutting in here, as well as the Water Monkeys, since it was moving next. So I guess Dark Megumi does somewhat counter Vertihal, since he pushed back just as much as Vertihal gives. But once again, yeah, we don't see much follow-up on the side of Big V.
That's the whole thing, right? Yeah, it was lacking the damage, because you expect AoE defense break, you're expecting something big to follow up, to really take down the enemy. But instead, it almost feels like Big V is just taking the time to capitalize. Now, with that said, this extra turn does mean that we get to see a wild blow, potentially on Asher. It could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, going on the Asher, oh my goodness. Is the Fire Twin going to have enough damage to take it out? This would be huge 25. If he gets this out here.
25k! That was he made great use of that proc in the skill 2. Oh! Wow! He's rounding up! He found a way to round up!
Wow. Yeah, I guess you can have follow-up like that. Just violent proc on both units, and that is as a dead
follow-up, baby.
Wow, I guess that's just so fortunate for Big V. But what an opener he had. You know, we were doubting him, but he knew he was going to violent proc on 2 units. And I mean, I don't really know how ZEZAS comes back from here. Maybe he does, with the immunity's wearing off here.
Yeah, I suppose when you got so many units ruined on violent, the odds are in your favor that one of them is probably going to proc. So I suppose I see the vision. Now, especially now that we've seen the best case scenario. Shiho is going to do his very, very best to try to turn this game around for ZEZAS, but we'll see how good he's actually going to be at doing that.
Yeah, Vertihal too is going to be providing a lot of turns for ZEZAS here, but ultimately we are at a 2v4 situation, and the whole Big V's team is very healthy too. So this is a very uphill battle for ZEZAS to win here.
Yeah, that's the problem. Now, and you know, there's a give and take here too on display, right? Because you know, at the same time, Verd is feeding the monkey more turns, but does he always want them? Not when he's got 2 turns of invincibility, maybe. Like sometimes maybe you'd rather just kind of hang out for a second with it. Oh, ignoring the invincibility is so brutal.
Yeah, it's super nice coming out of that Fire Twin. I was a bit surprised to see that Big V didn't set up that defense break on the Vertihal and then capitalize on that damage there. Instead went for the skill 2 on the Water Monkey and well, missed it ultimately too. That monkey might be able to cut in here and get more invincibility for it. So, it doesn't. Fire Twins moves, and yeah, that's going to be game over.
That's it. Yeah, we were just waiting to see if that attack bar was shining. Big V with the first round 1 up against ZEZAS right now. Wow. So, Topa, what does ZEZAS need to do, in your opinion, to turn this around for him in the next match?
I think ZEZAS needs to not get unlucky like that. I mean, that was just super, super fortunate for Big V. Well, to be fair, ZEZAS did counter with the Vertihal, but like Big V getting 2 violent procs, like again, we were talking about, he really didn't have any follow-up. But when you just violent proc on 2 units, that is, all of a sudden you have a lot of damage coming through, and yeah, that was super unfortunate for ZEZAS. So I did like his draft a lot there. I guess the ban was also maybe a bit questionable. You pick up all that fire just to ban out the F9 anyways.
Oh, that is a good point. That's a good insight. Ultimately, Big V did get pretty fortunate with that follow-up. You know, it's kind of likely to happen. That's why you ruin him on Violent. But, like, that big damage into the securing that takedown on Asher that early was really brutal.
Definitely was. But the players are really taking their time in this pre-ban here. You know, a Big V will have his Gian available here. Wonder if he's going to be pre-banning a Hey Gang or perhaps even a Josephine. But no, goes for the Water Monkey.
Respectfully, you know, that both of these units have had a huge impact on today, so it makes sense to see him in the pre-ban. What is ZEZAS going to do differently? He can't just take that. He can't just shrug off that round, not with Brazil on the line.
Yeah, definitely not. You know, ZEZAS has to lock in here, and 2 out of the, I guess, the Holy Trinity that I just called it are now in the pre-ban, so ZEZAS definitely has to pivot here. And Big V might even be steal this Okeanos first here, but no, goes for another speed lead of the Chandra.
He does, and ZEZAS answers back, matching speed leads with the Water Twin Angels. Yeah, it really makes me think about how much is on the line for him. You know, it's like really there's probably a lot of pressure for him to get this win here while he can, so that way he doesn't have to fight his way back next week, Saturday.
Yeah, that's a very quick response from ZEZAS too, with that Water Monkey and Okeanos, and now a very quick Juno pick as well. You know, we see like almost a little bit blast from the past here from Big V. This is like almost last year's meta. with that Chandra first pick into a segment that was very popular about a year ago, but now has faded a bit. But I mean, I assume it's still extremely strong, and that's a unit we haven't seen yet today.
Oh.
Water Gojo.
Where has this been? Yeah, the Water Gojo. Such a cool unit. We talk about this guy a lot, especially because of all the defense scaling damage on him, the fact that he self-buffs, he's immune to attack bar reduction, and the fact that over the course of a game, just defense scaling damage just lasts way longer because, health goes down, but defense never does.
Yeah, this Water Gojo was extremely popular earlier in the year. I know it saw a lot of play during the summit as well, and it was actually one of my most wanted units at the time that I'm liking. Now we see another unit that we have never seen probably. Water Zenitsu here, Evan.
Yeah, the Water Zenitsu. Normally I'm used to seeing the wind one, and it caught a ban too.
Yeah, just like instantly banned from ZEZAS almost, and I guess fear of the unknown here potentially. Like, don't really know what that thing does. It does a lot of damage, I guess. Can't be stunned, and I just better not deal with it. And ZEZAS is also bringing his very trusted Chao, which I guess serves a pretty similar role here, but they both take the bans.
I'm excited to see the Water Gojo in his first game this time. Like you pointed out, he had quite the showing at the summit. I think there was only one set where he didn't get picked. Every other set in the summit he was picked, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was a very, very popular, and yeah, we haven't seen him in SWC yet. But this, I guess the matchup is also from, a few months ago with this segment too. We've seen her a couple times here today, but definitely not as popular as she once used to be.
And now he's debating on that setup, because that's the problematic part about the Gojo. The Gojo can just go with the skill 2, steal the immunity that you're putting on, and now you're just left frustrated.
Yeah, but Josephine getting that nice provoke there after removing the will runes too, but unfortunately doesn't get stunned by the Gojo's skill 1 there. Would have definitely liked that shield, because this segment is looking very low, but Chandra does have that defense to maybe keep the segment in the game a bit longer.
And no proc coming from that thing. But that Okeanos is in a really fragile position. Pater's going to clean it up. Uh-oh. Big V taking that early takedown means that he is feeling pretty good right about now.
He definitely is. His team is still looking quite healthy aside from that segment here. And Josephine is definitely going to be very annoying for ZEZAS to deal with. None of his CC can really stick here, especially with that pattern there too.
Josephine keeps proccing into the retry. She'll miss the stun. She'll get to go again. Double revenge from Shadra Josephine together is brutal. The Gojo is spending most of the game just sitting there, and now he's got the dots on Sekhmet that are going to confirm the kill next turn.
Yeah, the pattern does still have skill 3 available, so it could cleanse Segment, maybe giving it one more turn here. But yeah, that's also super unfortunate from ZEZAS. Going for that stun, only stunning the pattern, which is obviously going to self-cleanse, and in doing so, it literally just gives BIGV's team a shield here. So these stuns they're only just hurting ZEZAS at this point.
Oh, and now, so you can clean up the kill, and you can also take the immunity with the Gojo. I think he's got skill 2 up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this Gojo has yet to move this turn, so ZEZAS noticing that, knowing that he has skill 2 available, doesn't need to confirm the kill with Juno. Very well played there, and still has a chance in this for sure.
Yeah, that was really good, because if he had gone with what I had laid out, he would have missed some damage there. So that was really well played. Shows that he's still calm, even though it's by some measure he was behind at the start of this game, but ZEZAS is not losing his cool.
Definitely not. Yeah, he's still staying locked in here for sure. Brazil is on the line. He definitely wants to be there for the home crowd. And yeah, now Patter with this big skill too, probably going to be taken out. Oh, okay, opting to stay in the dragon form. Is this a dragon now? Whatever form that provides the heals on the passive,
Nessie. Yeah, there's also no more defense break on the side of Big V too, so we're going to start seeing his damage output kind of slow down from here on out. Of course we're going to get the lump sum of damage from the Wild Blow from the Druid when he eventually transforms back, but this is about as much damage as he's outputting, so ZEZAS has a moment here to kind of be impactful.
He does, and now Josephine passive just activated with the pattern in the beast form, I suppose. Yeah, Juno goes to that skill too. Unfortunately, not receiving any stuns, so not getting much value there.
Oh, and now you can provoke the Gojo. Then he skill ones, stuns, activates passive. Look at this. It's just like clockwork.
Yeah, Josephine just proving to be such an annoying monster for ZEZAS to deal with here. And that Gojo is going to be dropping, and I believe BIGV is going to be taking a 2-0 lead here.
Wow, dude. Big V showing that he's just as tough as ever.
Yeah, he has definitely, improved from last year. After I defeated him in the first round of the preliminaries, he does not want to be put in that lower bracket, and he's doing his absolute best here. With all these violent procs to go in his favor, he's going to be taking this game 2 away from ZEZAS here.
Yeah, dude, it's traumatic what you did to him last year. He doesn't want that happening. Look at this. Big V, 2-0 lead. Right now, we still have one more game left. He has an advantage right here. ZEZAS is not out, and also a reverse sweep is not totally unheard of. Is it unlikely? Maybe. But it's not unheard of.
It is in the cards, and, ZEZAS could pull it off. Especially, he did get extremely unlucky in that first game. I definitely did favor Big V's draft in that second game there, but ZEZAS knows that he can definitely outdraft Big V here, and maybe if he gets a little bit of a the pendulum of RNG swings in his favor slightly, he could definitely mount this comeback here.
Plus, he's got some of his favorite units back on the table, because before there was no Oliver, there was no Shiho, and he can take those units again here.
He can. I wonder if Big V is going to go back to that Oliver pre-ban now, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see that, but no, he goes back to that Fire Megumi still.
Wonder why he opts for the Fire Megumi over Oliver all the time.
Yeah, that's an interesting transition from the first game. Once again, could be that he wants to play with the Efna. ZEZAS, I guess, respecting that Efna quite a bit in the first game, banning it out after having picked 3 fire units himself. So, but we'll see how Big V responds now that he does not have his pattern available.
And now he's really thinking. I'm expecting the Water Twins. Yeah, there it is. The Water Twins Oki. He beat me to it.
Yeah, not going with the Vanessa this time. Just choosing to go with the Water Twins. The Twin Angels have been working wonders for Big V all throughout today.
Oh, and finding a replacement Holy Trinity from the bench, Shiho with Asher.
Yeah, this is a difference that I somewhat noticed in the APAC groups. Watching Group A, they really favored Okeanos. They were playing this trio with Oliver, Water Monkey, and Okeanos. And then in Group B, just last night, there was a lot more ashore. So I guess ZEZAS is now taking the Korean meta, maybe a page out of that book. But Big V is still just going right back to his trusted Twin Angels and that ever so annoying Josephine.
That's something that we were talking about earlier. It's a really cool part of SWC is watching the slight variations on meta that emerge across regions and then seeing people borrow from it after watching the tournaments.
Yeah, so far, I guess a difference in the America's Cup is that we're seeing quite a few Twin Angels here. We really didn't see that many Twin Angels in the other regions. And as well as we see actually in that Aya, a fair amount. And ZEZAS also picking it up alongside the Juno. So, 2 very strong units against all these debuffs. I think Big V needs a solid damage dealer here in his last pick, but it is likely to get banned either way.
Yeah, more than likely. I think ZEZAS is probably saying that he's comfortable playing up against what Big V has presented so far. And, having to pick between a Juno and an Aya to ban, that's always a tall order. Like, you're really not happy with the other one being there still. Yeah,
really not. I do still typically prefer the ban on the Juno, because once again, you can kind of navigate around the Aya. Especially at, this level, these players are definitely capable of noticing those little intricacies and interactions in the turn orders and giving debuffs or when to use them and when to not. So yeah, Big V follows that advice and does ban out the Juno here, and no surprise his last pick of Bella Jewel is getting banned out.
Yeah, well said. They should be able to kind of look around, make sure they don't accidentally trigger the Aya, but unfortunately some of these things are kind of unavoidable. Like, you could just incidentally land a slow from the Wind Twin Angels when you go to strip or something like that. So we'll see how impactful the Aya is coming into what is potentially the last game in this semifinals matchup between Big V and ZEZAS. Big V has the potential here to get a 3-0 against one of our Brazilian representatives, denying him an early win and sending him into the future.
Yeah, that is definitely a big possibility here, but now going for that AoE and actually missing on the Aya. That is just so sad to see. And furthermore, there's also big shields on the side of Big V, right? And those shields do soak up the damage on the Aya, and Aya does always damage herself in, you activated that passive. So without any, I guess there's that short heal, but with limited heals on the side of ZEZAS, that Aya, like most of the damage, it might go down before it can do enough damage to Big V's team.
Yep, and now, so everybody's pretty much stunned. He's comfortable where Aya's at. Not a great proc, if we're being totally honest, because you don't really want to do the stun. He might be considering it here just to go for the damage. I think it's a little greedy to do that, to be honest. He opted for the safe play.
Yeah, definitely not a favorable violent proc here. You move out of your speed buff. You kind of want that speed buff for the skill 3 to do that. Get that extra damage from those additional damage by speed artifacts. Either way, where, Big V is in a very commanding position here. I just don't see Aya solo like this. Like, Sokiano's skill 3 is basically going to delete 2 units from the field. Oh my god, he's eliminated to use it again!
Dude! And if you're ZEZAS right now, like that would make me just roll my eyes right now. Like, of course you landed on everybody but Aya.
Yeah, well, I guess Big V, maybe feeling a bit bad, just decides to use that skill 3 anyways. Or maybe feeling that the game is over, which it does quite seem to be the case. And, I guess those stuns ultimately didn't matter since Okeanos would have patched that up either way. But, yeah, Big V, getting a bit lucky in the first game, but since then, very clean drafting and still quite fortunate RNG.
Dude, seriously, how unlucky can you get with specifically things related to Aya? All the provokes went on just the Water Twins?
Yeah, like, what is that too? Like, you really want to be broke this Josephine. I don't think I've ever seen that either, actually. How many hits does it have? Like 5, 4?
It has 4 hits.
Unit?
And
wow.
like, it's so different from the previous time Aya was picked in this tournament, because that was like an Aya showcase. This is the exact opposite.
Yeah, this really shows why Aya shouldn't be picked, but
yeah. Look at that. And not with a scream, but with a whimper. Big V secures the 3-0 against ZEZAS.
Wow, that is a very strong showing. ZEZAS obviously a world finalist from last year, and just very strong opponent. He did dismantle SAPPYYY in the first round, but Big V making it look quite easy there with a 3-0 victory, Evan.
Yeah, too easy. He made it look a little too easy for my book. ZEZAS is such a good player, though, and I think that's really going to show on day 3. That's my prediction. We said it before earlier for multiple people, but like both of them are in my predictions within the events page. So I'm a big believer in both. I think either of them would have had what it takes to climb through that bottom bracket, but ultimately Big V through ZEZAS 1 week into the future says you're in bottom bracket now. You got to fight your way up to make it to Brazil. So the pressure is on for him. Here are the highlights from that set we just watched here, Topa. So tell me your thoughts now looking back on these 3 games that we saw between these 2 Titans.
Yeah, this game 1 was very well drafted by ZEZAS. Again, maybe a questionable ban on the EFNA, having drafted so much fire by, you gotta assume that Big V would have banned out the Vertihal, but I guess he thought that, this Dark Megumi would counter the Vertihal, but then, just getting the double proc on both the Patter as well as the Fire Twins to confirm that kill was just so huge, and it was almost over from that point on.
Yeah, I really wanted to see more out of this Water Gojo, but it really Gojos to shoujo why units that wake up from stun or are immune to stun kind of shine so hard, because he spent most of that game stunned up.
Yeah, Josephine really shut down that unit, getting that provoke on it, and Josephine really loves provoking all these units that have a stun on their skill 1, right? Because then that Gojo just takes a turn, stuns the Josephine stuns it right back, and gets another shield in the turn, and it's like, oh my god, it's just never ending.
And we didn't get to see it too, but that Aya getting the 4 hit on the Water Twins of all things, yeah, that match should be studied. That should be studied, dude, for why Aya, it's why you prefer to have a Josephine or rather a Juno in a game over the Aya. Look at this. Big V has officially qualified for the America's Cup in a very big way, getting a 3-0 over one of the favorites for today's whole tournament.
Yeah, and this also maybe goes to show a little bit how strong BADOWNEY is, in that first match, because BADOWNEY was able to take 2 games off of Big V. And BIGV made like such easy work of ZEZAS here. So definitely, looking forward to seeing BADOWNEY as well as ZEZAS duke it out in the lower bracket next week. But we also have ZEFA versus RAIGEKI coming up in a little bit here.
Yeah, we get to look forward to that too. That was already a big game, but we have one more semifinals match for today because we got to qualify one more player today, and then you get to look forward to seeing them on October 11th on the America's Cup. But if you look towards the game right now, we have a collaboration with Tekken 8 Live. The Ultimate Showdown is happening right now on the Sky Island. So log in and enjoy the collab-exclusive Nat5 Heihachi giveaway event, as well as collaboration scrolls and more rewards within. All right, guys, we'll be right back for that second semifinals game right after a short break. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to day one of the SWC 2025 America's Prelims, where Topa, you and I stand at the last game of the day, the second semifinals match. What are your thoughts of the tournament so far, man?
I think we've had an amazing tournament so far, and we had some really close clutch games, and then we've also had some very one-sided matches going on here too. But I think, ultimately this next game is going to be definitely another crazy one. I think both of these players, both of them had a BM ban. ZEFA banning that Dark Elemental and RAIGEKI banning that Draco. So I think they are also current guildies. If not current, I believe they have been guildies in Malicious or Malevolent in the past. So they might know each other pretty well.
Yeah, so that closeness means they're familiar with fighting one another, at least to a certain extent. And they've, of course, met up in previous SWCs past, more than likely. So look at this, ZEFA versus RAIGEKI, both in very similar places in terms of using that pre-ban as a joke or as a challenge to either their opponent or themselves. It should be a very fun match to watch, huh, Topa?
Definitely, yeah. These are two very veterans in the scene. RAIGEKI obviously being America's Cup winner in SWC 2022, and both having very strong win rates in their respective seasons. So this is definitely going to be a one match to watch here.
Here we go, everybody. Our last best of 5 at day one of the America's Prelims. Who is going to be our second qualified player for the America's Cup proper on October 11th in Brazil? Let's see how it goes. ZEFA versus RAIGEKI.
Yeah, ZEFA having that first pick in this first matchup. We'll see what they pre-ban. ZEFA has a plethora of very strong LDs here, and both of them do share that Miying. So I wonder if we'll see any emphasis on the Miying here, or since both of them also own it, they probably know how to counter it.
That's right. And also, don't fret, folks. I see some people saying they don't want today to end. Well, even though it's the last game of the day, we still have a lot more to look forward to. Same time, same place tomorrow, guys. Day 2 coming at you.
Yeah, definitely. And we're getting right in this game. ZEFA just first picking a light Gojo. RAIGEKI does not own that unit, but ZEFA still, feeling that is a very flexible unit. Can be built on Swift, can be built on Violent, does have that speed lead. So definitely flexible in, whatever way you want to take the draft into.
Yeah, and taking Layla pretty early, giving RAIGEKI a suitable amount of time to pick both Juna and Aya if he wants to.
Yeah, those are definitely on the table here, but RAIGEKI had a very fast response, to that light Gojo, with just picking, I guess, 2 out of the 3 in the Trinity, Oliver as well as the Water Monkey. Very standard picks there, so ZEFA must have been, anticipating those, and we'll see what he has to counter those now.
Some anti-crowd control units is what he's got. The first Sonya of the day. Topa, I can't believe I'm saying that, man. The balance patch really kept her at bay.
Yeah, maybe. Or, these players just respect each other. Because Sonya, to me, it feels like somewhat of a rune gap monster, right? If you're able to rune gap your opponent, that can definitely kill something. But in these stakes, well, obviously when there's a Misty on the board, 4-star that has barely any base stats, it's definitely going to die to Sonya, so I'm not surprised to see that in the ban here.
Yeah, and you're right about that. It's very much a stat check monster, right? Very literally a stat check monster. But it was good enough that ZEFA wanted it out of here. Clean strip stun on the light Gojo, and he's already sitting at half health.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. That Shiho did so much damage, or this Gojo is made of...
What the... What's Gojoing on, dude? That thing is real squishy for some reason.
Yeah, it really is, and RAIGEKI is looking to just take that out of the match almost immediately here and get the early advantage.
Yeah, any monster moving next can take it. There's no real rush on it. He gets a little healing on the Gojo. It's not going to amount to too much. Let's see how much damage this Pater can put out.
Yeah, I think ultimately this game is going to come down to this Misty here for ZEFA. RAIGEKI does have defense break out of this Fire Megumi, and I think that should be ZEFA's first target here. Obviously, if you hit anything other than the Fire Megumi too, he gains attack bar, and then can violent proc like that and provide stuns. So this should be ZEFA's first target here to get rid of. And then maybe Misty might have enough to win this game.
Good point. He didn't go to secure the kill on it. He can do that with anything. He's going to suck up that attack bar from the Pater. Gets an additional turn, unfortunately, there. And then he can just kind of keep increasing the cooldown time. This is looking very good for RAIGEKI. And he also drops the Gojo that is definitely not lore accurate, by the way. That thing felt pretty easy.
Yeah, that was a huge, absorb on that Oliver. Having the glancing doesn't matter. Still getting the attack bar. And, that's just crazy.
And now he's getting some additional damage here on the Misty, finally shifting the target over to what it should have been.
Yeah, that Misty, disappeared quite fast from the match as well. RAIGEKI really not having any problems there at all.
Yeah. Okay. Now RAIGEKI's looking real good. ZEFA needs to think about what he wants to change for round 2 here. Would you like to see anything in particular go differently in that pick ban phase?
I probably wouldn't like, or I would like to not see the Gojo that early. RAIGEKI doesn't have that monster, and well, we saw how unimpactful it was here. I'm not sure if it took even a single turn in this game. So, that probably already allowed RAIGEKI to get a lot of these meta units that then performed super well for him here.
I totally agree. Like, there's no rush to pick an LD5 that your opponent doesn't have. So, you can save that for a little later in the draft. Maybe I'd like to see him contest that Oliver instead. Of course, it's likely going to be pre-banned this game. Anyway, RAIGEKI with a 1-0 lead against ZEFA in the last semifinals game of the day.
Yeah, it's a very good position to be if you're RAIGEKI, but ZEFA, he's no stranger to, SWC and these best of 5, so he can definitely adapt here and come back. Maybe, not pre-banning a light elemental here, but doing something a bit more proper. And, I would like to see him dig into RAIGEKI's box a little bit.
And with the pre-ban, he's at least doing that, taking the Tian Lang out of the equation.
Yeah, RAIGEKI probably assuming that he's going to be getting Oliver once again, and Tianlang obviously a pretty huge counter to that, and we see just that happening. RAIGEKI first picking the Oliver, ZEFA once again going for that speed lead of the Light Gojo, and now we see the Dark Monkey for the first time today, I believe. Yeah,
we'll see if he makes it into the game. I think he's been banned every time he's appeared in the pick ban phase.
Yeah, or he has been already in the pre-ban itself. And RAIGEKI also going with 2 AoE buff removers. You're now getting that Fire Megumi on his tail here, as well as the Patter.
I think we have another new addition to the pick ban here with the Light Twin Angels. That's mostly been in the pre-ban phase. RAIGEKI really trying again with this Sonya, and I honestly, good call. I think there's an opportunity for a stat check here, especially maybe against that Sun Zhong Lao.
Yeah, RAIGEKI really pushing this speed advantage that he has here, having 2 speed leaders as well as fast base speed units, which ZEFA does not have. Actually, Dark Monkey does have a high base speed, but it's usually not going to be built on a Swift here, as probably want a AoE buff remover in front of it. And ZEFA now pulling out a Ragdoll to counter all the AoE.
Nice call. Would have been a big deal because now all of a sudden he'd have the Ragdoll and the Fire Megami cycling just based off of the AoE hits that RAIGEKI's throwing out. I like that from ZEFA, putting that pressure in the pick ban phase. And Ricky's starting this off here with the Laura AoE.
That is looking like a Swift Laura, going first, didn't have Will Runes. Also not doing a whole lot, missing 2 of the buff removes there, but Megumi unable to, cut in and do anything meaningful.
Wow, the damage is unreal, Topa. The whole team this time is at 50% practically.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. RAIGEKI may be getting a bit greedy there, applying the attack buff instead of boosting up his Oliver with that Twin Angels, allowing the Patter to now cut in between and get that immunity. So both Sierra and Oliver have death burns here, and here comes the Dark Monkey.
Ooh, uh-oh. Here's why he keeps soaking up the ban whenever he's picked. The stun plus the cleanse block, in addition to that defense break that he had. This is crazy good monster now.
It is, and that Patter damage is insane. We saw even in the Euro Cup, Guts utilize the Patter and was doing so much damage. That skill too is definitely not to be underestimated here.
Wow. And ZEFA's doing a really good job capitalizing on the window that he set up with this defense break.
He really is, but RAIGEKI also capturing a window there with that Laura skill too. Not getting very many stuns, only 2 slows and 1 stun there, which is a bit unfortunate. And I believe this Laura will be going down the pattern, and ZEFA is looking very strong here, bringing this back to a 1-1 situation.
Whoa, well done. Well done, ZEFA. Not going down without a fight. He's kind of turning me more into a believer of that Gojo, by the way. Maybe it was just the wrong first impression last game.
Yeah, potentially there was no water monkey this time to lock it down, and the Gojo was able to get his get going here, so to say, and it's now going to be taking out the Laura as well as the Oliver, and that is going to be a 1-1 situation here.
Nice, great last semifinals game for the day. ZEFA not going down without a fight. He's going to make this difficult for RAIGEKI.
That he definitely is going to do, and he's looking to continue this momentum here now, and RAIGEKI, yeah, again, maybe playing a bit greedy there, applying the attack buff with the Light Twin Angels, or maybe, thinking that since the Light Twin Angels did get that nerf their skill 1, that it wouldn't be enough either way. We'll see if he still picks that up in the next game here and keeps, this turn 1 aggressive playstyle up.
I'm excited to see how these players switch things up in this next round. Remember, guys, just like every other game behind us, best of 5. No one's sitting at match point yet. It's not time to sweat, although I'm sure the heart rates are at least a little bit elevated. I would also be banning the Dark Monkey King after a game like that.
Yeah, Dark Monkey King really showing up, and yeah, one of the winners from the balance patch. Would have really liked to see that Beelzebub game earlier, but unfortunately it got banned, and well, at least we got to see a little bit of Dark Monkey before he is now back in the pre-bans, and now ZEFA doing exactly what I hoped he would in, stealing a unit from RAIGEKI and that Shiho.
Yeah, I like the content picks. Drifting outside the meta, getting a little bit weird with it. I wish we could have seen a little bit more. You cited the Dark Demon. Couldn't agree more. I wish that would have come back.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think either of these players have a Dark Demon. I know RAIGEKI has a Light Demon, but that would be quite a treat to see that monster come up. Instead, he is just picking this Oliver once again, as well as now going for the Misty himself.
Yeah, he doesn't seem quite ruined up for a cleave or anything like that the Lucifer is usually associated with. And the last 2 picks here for ZEFA, it's a pretty big deal. Yeah,
RAIGEKI, for once, I guess, since ZEFA was able to take that Water Monkey away from him, he's now pivoted into this slower turn 2 style that he utilized against ZEZIM in the first round, and obviously worked very well. But ZEFA does have some more LD toys that might make it difficult for RAIGEKI here.
Yeah, dude, I would love it if this gets through. Frankly, unlikely, I guess, because every time we've seen a Velasca, that Dark Spectre princess, get picked, she's been banned, and it's kind of, I'm tired of getting my hopes up, Topa.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Velasca make it through here. There is an Oliver on the side of RAIGEKI, which shuts down a Velasca very well, although I expect the Oliver to be banned, but then RAIGEKI also does have this last pick to potentially deal with the Velasca.
Yeah. Oh, and she does. Dude, I guess I was just afraid of getting hurt again. I wanted Velasca in this game so bad, bro. I'm excited to see how this pops off. Now, remember, guys, this is Velasca post-balance patch, so unfortunately she doesn't get her cooldown back when, with that skill 2, but I think she can still be quite potent even without it.
Definitely, we won't quite see the highlight reel that we used to see of Velasca potentially, but still, there's very limited heals on the side of RAIGEKI, but that is also very dead-looking Mei Ying.
Oh my goodness, look at that damage. That's usually what Mei Ying does to other people.
But Velasca is going to be popping right back up after that, guys, and we'll see the damage. Going in the shield, actually not doing anything, really.
Yeah, it gets through all the shield and just a little bit further into it. I think the passive on Josephine is down, so he can land a couple successful stuns here.
Yeah, those are huge stuns. Now also stunning the Bayek, because that Bayek does still have skills available, which is obviously going to be healing and cleanse the Oliver here, if it does get that additional turn.
And that's great. He sets up the defense break. Usually that damage on skill 1 is pretty poppin' from the Zenitsu.
Yeah, we saw that he actually missed the crit there, so not doing a whole lot of damage. And Oliver getting a clutch Final Brock out, now losing that Velasca. And Shiho continuing the theme of today of absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, might as well rename the skill at this point.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And RAIGEKI in a very commanding position here. Also reset that Zenitsu, no passive. I'm going to be picking it back up, and RAIGEKI will be taking game 3 here.
Wow, we really felt the impact of the balance patch on Velasca for this one. I mean, we got one skill 2 off. This would have been potentially a different game if she was allowed to use it a second time.
Yeah, it could have been, but also the Oliver was very effective in shutting that down. You know, as I mentioned, a bit surprised that we didn't see the ban come out on the Oliver, as that was also the only speed lead on RAIGEKI's side there.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm in the camp of I didn't know if Velasca necessarily need. She did pump out a lot of damage though, so I shouldn't say that. But you know, I like flashy units like that, Topa.
Yeah, we definitely got some highlight reels with that. But either way, you know, nerf has been made, and I don't think it made any difference there, because I don't think Velasca would have been able to use her skill 2 again either way. But we're moving on to game 4 here between ZEFA and RAIGEKI.
And RAIGEKI is now at match point. If he wins this one, he is our second qualified player for the America's Cup on October 11th. This is a big deal right now for both players. ZEFA needs to turn it on.
Yeah, you know, both of these players, as mentioned, are veterans of the scene. They are frequent visitors to the America's Cup, but neither player made it last year. So, you know, both of them are looking for that redemption, trying to claim their spot in America's Cup, and ZEFA definitely wants it too. But RAIGEKI once again getting that Oliver.
That's the theme of the day. Him and Josephine, those are the big themes today. Slamming the Oliver, taking the Josephine at the slightest hint of a stun.
Yeah, absolutely. But now, you know, having the Oliver on the side of RAIGEKI makes it pretty awkward for a Josephine pick, and ZEFA is going right back to that light Gojo and the Dark Monkey that worked so well for him in game 2.
He's still prioritizing that light Gojo early. I don't know. How do you feel about it following the last couple games we've seen?
Light Gojo is a very strong unit, and in the absence of the Water Monkey, I think it does work, because that Water Monkey is what really shut down that Gojo. But RAIGEKI now, you know, still not backing out of that speed fight, going with that Light Twin Angels that we know are on Swift, as we have seen in the previous games. And, you know, you kind of expect the Sonya to show up here too now.
I would too. I don't think this is going to be too much different than the other games where RAIGEKI has presented the Sonya to just put pressure and say, I want to play with these 4 units. Yeah, he opts to not and takes the Misty instead.
Yeah, going for that anti-CC team here, and the Miying and the Misty, very strong combination, especially after ZEFA does lock in this Okeanos here. We'll see what he runs his draft out with here. Maybe probably some sort of a damage dealer, no obstacle for more control, just trying to overpower, you know, the Miying passive, but you can never stun the Misty. Okay,
potentially the last ban of the day. Bans out the Sun Zhonglao and the Light Twin Angels. And RAIGEKI is staking that last win on this one right here. Let's see. Is ZEFA going to be able to turn it around, or is RAIGEKI going to walk away with this 3-1?
Yeah, RAIGEKI really respecting that Sun Zhonglao now, you know, pre-banning it and then just now banning it in the draft here. And ZEFA wants to get that first turn, so bans out the Swift unit from RAIGEKI's side and will now achieve that first turn with this Gojo. And also the pattern is tuned, so Megumi cannot really stun anything here.
No, and there's the cleanse and immunity. Now Layla's free to kind of do whatever she pleases. We got a lot of resistances here too. Oh dear.
Yeah, that is quite an unfortunate skill too from Layla. Not getting only getting 1 slow, not getting anything on this Megumi, and but Megumi also misses that skill too there on the Okeanos.
Is this where you want to reset the Oliver? Oh, he wants to go for the strip and increase on the Megumi.
It's almost as if he knew he was going to get that violent proc there, you know, going for that strip first in order to then be able to stun it there too. And that is a lot of damage coming out of this Okeano 7.
Yeah, it was, dude. He was immediately rewarded for that play. Honestly, you know, take big risks. Sometimes you get rewarded. That was really well done from ZEFA. And that's also the sort of thing you kind of got to do when you're behind like this.
Definitely, but ZEFA is slowly running out of gas here, you know, skills have been used, okay, no stuff. Oh, never mind, Layla has her skill 2 up already, you know, she gets so much attack bar now with all those debuffs.
Yeah, but you had a point though, you know, it's like ZEFA really kind of gassed out on some of this stuff. Megumi's procking out of his immunity. I don't know if that's necessarily what you want to do, but hey, oh, Oliver, he woke up.
Oliver getting one final turn before this light Gojo skill 3 takes him out here. And RAIGEKI really just, not going for the skill 3 there. Really just targeting this Layla here, trying to get rid of that slowing monster. And I think RAIGEKI is putting all of his eggs in this Misty solo basket right now.
Do you think that there's a chance that Misty could take this?
I definitely do believe there's a chance that Misty could take this. Obviously, you can't stun it, so that's like that is the only debuff that ZEFA has left on his side now, and the damage is mitigated. I know RAIGEKI's Misty is ruined extremely well, so it could definitely take this. Yeah, look at that. The wild
nice.
Not much damage.
Dude, that's really exciting. 100% res, Mi Ying confirmed.
And the Megumi Okeano's not connecting anything is super unfortunate there. Now this Megumi not only getting the stun, but also a Violent Proc to get that defense break. That is now going to allow Mist to heal a lot more because he deals more damage thanks to that defense break.
Oh, dude, look at this. It's almost... You might be a prophet right now, Topa. You made that call. Like, Misty's looking real healthy, and the rest of the team is, is falling for ZEFA.
Oh, yeah. Opting to not go for that skill 2 to try and finish out this Dark Panda here. All the Okeanos go for it now. It does confirm the kill, and let's see. Does the Misty have what it takes? That's a lot of damage.
It is. Yeah, it's a lot of damage coming from him, and he's got the life drain to back it up too.
Yeah, he really does. ZEFA often to stay in the bear form with this Druid to keep getting those slight heals, but man, this Misty is just healing up everything and more every turn. Yeah, Misty is going to be taking this one and bringing RAIGEKI to America's Cup, unless...
Look at how tanky this thing is, man. A Nat 4 is about to do this. A Hall of Heroes Nat 4, nonetheless.
Yeah, Misty really... This is just an amazing Misty showcase here. You know, phenomenal pick from RAIGEKI going for that. Going for that solar and anti-CC team, and it does it. Wow.
That is so cool. RAIGEKI taking it 3-1, moving on as our second qualified player for the America's Cup on October 11th. Spectacular. That was so cool, Topa, and great call.
Yeah, RAIGEKI had an off year last year, but he's back with a vengeance, you know, taking no prisoners. He is going straight to America's Cup after just the day 1 of the preliminaries here.
Dude, everybody in chat is going to be building a Misty if they don't already have one.
Yeah, I know. I believe it was actually Guts, who I spoke about earlier as well, that popularized the Misty. And a lot of players, a lot of streamers have them picked up on the Misty as well. That has, popularized it even more. And, I myself have used the Misty as well. And it is a very, very strong monster in the current meta.
Yeah, and we've seen folks kind of pick him up in the past, especially around that special league season when it's like 4 stars only. And so now he's kind of carrying through. Turns out, spectacular. And that you were not kidding about the rune quality on it too, because like when you said it might solo here, I was like, what? Solo 3 monsters? But he did.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite 3 monsters at the end, RAIGEKI still did have a couple other monsters to help out, clean out the couple or one of them before the Misty had to do the heavy lifting there, but still, that wasn't even close. Like, the Misty was never really in danger of dying there.
Yeah, never. That's a good point. And here's that the Dark Monkey King, the Sunjung Lao. RAIGEKI only had to see that thing once, and he said, that's enough. I'm going to ban this thing for the rest of the day.
Yeah, definitely, a good call on that. We didn't have any troll pre-bans here, because, both players definitely taking this extremely seriously here today. And, yeah, Misty. Even in this game 3 here, did extremely well.
I liked what he was going for with the Velasca here. I did enjoy it. It's just, like you pointed out, the Oliver is kind of the natural predator of monsters like that, So even if she were to incidentally get a turn, all of her cooldowns would be increased anyway, so she wouldn't be able to make use of it. So it was well countered by RAIGEKI, but it also did some pretty serious damage. I think it hit for 15.5k on Oliver there.
Yeah, it did, That means it has 60,000 hit points or something of that sort. Maybe there's some additional or extra damage dealt on wind. But also another note here is that RAIGEKI had the Oliver every single time. And ZEFA really didn't contest that pick at all. And I would have liked to see, him maybe do that a bit more. Yeah,
look at this, dude. And this is that last game. This is about the time live when I was like, you were saying that he would solo. And I was like, what? No way. And then clearly I'd be taught an important lesson here about Misty. That's such a cool monster. I think I'm definitely going to build one myself.
Oh yeah, you gotta get on that Misty train. It is such an impactful monster. Once again, it's Misty is exactly what Jaeger wished he was.
that's crazy. And it's true though. He did what Jaeger probably couldn't have in that situation. Well done, RAIGEKI, and to Big V as well, being our 2 qualified players for the day. And guys, this was just day 1. We have a second day of the SWC 2025 America's Prelims tomorrow, same time, same place. That's 1 p.m. Pacific. Here's a look again at the journey that we just took that led us to our 2 qualified players for the America's Cup on October 11th, Big V and RAIGEKI.
Yeah, huge congratulations those guys, but everyone else, we will be seeing them play once again 1 week from today in day 3. So, ZEZAS, ZEFA, and all the others are going to be coming back, and this is what we have to look forward to tomorrow. There are many great players tomorrow playing as well, Evan.
Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that. So many returning players, new blood in the mix too. It's going to be great. We have a lot of awesome days ahead of us left just in the prelims.
Yeah, and then, we have the America's Cup in Brazil, so there's a lot more SWC coming up. And what is also coming up is the collaboration, or it's already here.
We are in the middle of it right now. Summoner's War meets Tekken 8. The ultimate showdown is happening right now on the Sky Island. So log into Summoner's War to enjoy the collab exclusive Nat 5 Heihachi giveaway event, the collab scrolls, and more rewards. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And guys, take a look at this as well. This is the registration page for the America's Cup on October 11th in Brazil. So if you think that you can be there, just keep your eyes peeled. Registration has not opened just yet, but if you want to see the exact site of America's Cup, you can stay tuned to our social media platforms as well.
And one last thing before we go here is we do have one more little treat for you guys for staying all the way until the end of the stream. It should be popping up here on the screen at any point, and there it is. Get yourself some more SWC emblems as well as a couple mystical scrolls.
Yes, and thank you so much to our lovely mods in chat who are also making sure to post these in there too. So if you're on iOS, you can just redeem the link from chat right then and there. I know I'll be doing the same thing. Good luck on your summons, everybody, too. I hope you pull some cool Tekken units. That'll be great. Topa, this has been such a fun day, man.
It has been a fun day, and it is only the start. Once again, we will be back tomorrow, same place, same time, as well as next week on Saturday. So hope to see you guys all there.
Yes, that's right, guys. So again, day 2 is tomorrow for the America's Prelims. So make sure to come by 1 p.m. Pacific again. We'll see you right back here for more SWC action, and look forward to day 3 for the losers bracket as well next week, Saturday. See y'all next time. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.